Program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and this, of course, is Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. It is Friday already. I can't believe it. This week has been a blur. There's been so much news going on, and there's 2 or 3 news cycles every day, and it's made the time go by very, very fast. But we got a lot to cover today, and of course, the primary story today is going to be the firing of Kristi Noem as the Homeland Security Secretary by President Trump. And I know a lot of people are going to say she wasn't fired. Okay, oh, she's got this other job and all that. No, she was fired. She's gone from a cabinet position to a new job that doesn't even exist. It's a new job that they're creating like tomorrow on Saturday or something. And even if it's the greatest job, it's not a cabinet level position. That is a major, major demotion. And this happened for a number of reasons which have been talked about. I'm going to cover in some detail. But Markwayne Mullin, this pick of Markwayne Mullin is amazing and the most incredible pick you could possibly make to be the Secretary of Homeland Security. And I'll tell you why. When I saw that Markwayne Mullin was the pick, I had a podcast yesterday afternoon, and I waited a couple hours until the announcement of what happened to podcast because I wanted to wait for the news to develop a little bit. And there's something I knew about Markwayne Mullin that I thought everyone knew. And I was shocked. No one was mentioning this. And I talked about it on my podcast yesterday afternoon. And then this morning, I haven't seen it mentioned anywhere else in the news. And it's probably one of the coolest things and most amazing things about the pick of Markwayne Mullin. And I'll tell you what it is. Okay, now, Homeland Security involves a lot of things. It's really important now with this war going on with Iran and all. It's always important, but it's extra important now because the terror threat level has got to be at its highest point since in the days after 9/11. But really what the main focus of Homeland Security is the deportations. Close down the border from the invaders and deportations. Do you know what Markwayne Mullin is? Do you know, Mike? This will, if you listen to my podcast and stuff, you guys know. You didn't catch my podcast, obviously. I won't take it personally, Mike. Markwayne Mullin is an Indian, a Native American Indian. He is a citizen of the Cherokee Nation. And this isn't some fake thing like Elizabeth Warren or some guy you know that goes around telling everyone that he's 1/16th Sioux or Cherokee or something. Markwayne Mullin's family have a long documented history of being members of the Cherokee Nation. In fact, his family live on the land that they were given by the U.S. government as Cherokee. There was a voluntary, you always hear about the Trail of Tears when the Cherokee were forcefully moved. Well, Markwayne Mullin's Indian ancestors, they were ahead of the curve. Prior to the Trail of Tears, there was an opportunity given to the Cherokee, a voluntary resettlement, which resulted in you getting some land. And Markwayne Mullin's family did the voluntary relocation prior to the Trail of Tears, got all this land, and still live on that land today. So Markwayne Mullin is an official citizen of the Cherokee Nation. And I know this because when he was first in the Senate, I read a story or two that's been forgotten, and I don't remember if this is an Indian or as a Cherokee. I have to go back and read, but it was either he was the first United States senator who was either a member of a tribe, a citizen of a tribe, or the Cherokee Nation since 1925. The last time there was a citizen of the Cherokee Nation or any Indian tribe, but it might just be the Cherokee Nation. I gotta look it up. But the last time that happened, before Markwayne Mullin was in the Senate, was 101 years ago in 1925. So it was a big deal when he got into the Senate, and I just remembered that when his name got mentioned yesterday, and the idea that the person, the man in charge of deportations in this country, is an Indian, a Native American Indian, and a citizen of the Cherokee Nation, that's like the cherry on top of the cake. What are these liberals going to say? And I haven't heard anyone mention this yet, and it really cracks me up. And there's no way that this is not one of the reasons that he got picked for this job by the president. It's not just a coincidence. You know, the liberals make a big deal all the time telling you that, you know, we're on stolen Indian land. Well, this guy's an Indian, and he's telling us that we're okay here. And these people that jump the border, they're not. And he's an Indian. So, according to the liberals, Indians are the decider of such things. And Markwayne Mullin is the Secretary of Homeland Security. And I'm just shocked that no one has talked about that yet. I haven't seen it mentioned in a single news story yet about Markwayne Mullin. Now, so far as Kristi Noem is nuts, okay? She was fired by the president. This job he offered her is a win-win for President Trump. If she takes this demotion, right, it keeps her quiet from being a pundit, you know, on MS Now or CNN bashing him. And or if she quits, and he didn't fire her, she just quit. But there were several factors that led to President Trump firing her, and it happened. I mean, we got to accept that. I know a lot of people that are conservative are saying she wasn't fired, she still has this other job. She was fired, okay? And enough of the spin here, okay? And it was over several things. Part of it was her and Corey Lewandowski. Now, remember, I played the clip on the show the other day when that congresswoman, was it yesterday, the day before, I don't remember, but where the lady Democrat congresswoman asked, have you had sex with that man, Corey Lewandowski? And she did not say no. She did not say no. And which is an indicator that it's true, and I'll tell you why. Because a lot of people say, oh, she wouldn't dignify the answer. It's an indication that it's true, because if she said no and she had sex with him, she would have lied to Congress, which is a federal crime that you can go to jail for. So avoiding the question, she didn't lie to Congress. So, you know, that's one. And of course, everyone's talking about the $250 million she spent on this ad campaign featuring her. And then when Kennedy, Republican, asked her about it, she said the president okayed it. And Senator Kennedy, he said he got a call the night before the hearing about it. And he said these were his exact words. I may play this later. I've got the audio somewhere here. Senator Kennedy said, President Trump called me, and he was madder than a murderous hornet, and went over all these things about Kristi Noem. And then the next day, those questions that Senator Kennedy asked Kristi Noem obviously were things that came from the conversation he had with President Trump. So Kennedy was doing the bidding, which is a good thing to do. He was doing the bidding of President Trump in that hearing the other day when he got her to, she lied. The president didn't sign off on this $250 million thing. And that really ticked him off. And then there was another story that came up in that hearing where there was some, I can't remember, was it a sweater? There was a story, some sweater, a jacket, some garment of Kristi Noem's got left on the plane or her private plane, and Corey Lewandowski went off and had a fit, so went the story, on the pilot, who's a Coast Guard veteran pilot. And it got so heated, Corey Lewandowski fired him, which I didn't know he had the authority to do, but if he's sleeping with Kristi Noem, I guess, you know, he's got the authority. And then an hour or so later, they had to hire him back because they had nobody else to fly Kristi Noem back to wherever she was going on her private jet. So if that story's true, I don't know if it's true or not, but if that story's true, it shows that Corey Lewandowski and her were walking around like crazy people, because who gets into such an argument like that? That would not be a one-off incident. That would be a personality defect. So, yeah, somebody in my chat said, she's not been fired. She's been moved to a different position. No, she was fired. She was a member of the cabinet, and now she's not. And a lot of times people get moved to different positions to try to get them to quit or to keep control of them. Okay? No, she was fired. And that's fine. And you know, that puppy thing was always going to stop her. But President Trump did this in a very humiliating way for her, right? And she's been called out for lying about that $250,000 thing, that he didn't know about it, and all, when she said he did. So her future in politics is really not looking good. All right, we got a lot to cover on the program today. It is Friday, which means it's open phones, open MAGA Mike Friday. On today's show, you can call in about any and everything on your mind. You don't have to talk about anything that I bring up, although I got a lot of things to cover, and hopefully you'll find them interesting enough to comment on, but you don't have to. The number's toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-COCAINE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hi, it's Dr. Philip Appleton. You've been hearing my commercials about bye-bye pain, my laser weight treatment, but today's commercial and today's spot is going to be on Tom Laporta Roofing. What an experience I've had with him and his company. They've done a few of my friends' houses and my son and my house. There's never a downtime. They're old school, which means call them up, they'll be there. How many times have you called somebody up and they never show up, or they give you an excuse? Weather, traffic, whatever. Tom Laporta, what a class act. The workmanship, the magnificent teamwork they have. I recommend them 100%.
Give Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing a call. This number rings directly to his cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. He covers both the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. 954-604-4602. LaportaRoofing.com. They'll never sell you a roof you don't need. When it comes to heart disease and cancers, early detection can save your life. I want to tell you about Life Imaging FLA, where you can set up a free heart scan with a few minimum requirements, valued at $699. Many studies show that looking inside of your body with CT scans can significantly reduce cancer death. The scan was easy too. I didn't have to get undressed. I didn't have to put on a gown. I just wore the clothes I walked into the office with. And now I have peace of mind. I'm not worried about a heart attack anymore. My wife, my daughter, they're not worried. And I want to thank Life Imaging FLA for letting me know that I am healthy and my heart is healthy. Call Life Imaging FLA for your free heart scan right now with just a few minimum requirements, valued at $699. From your cell, call pound 250 and say free heart scan. That's pound 250. Just say free heart scan and you'll be connected in seconds.
This is Jamie Levac with Swift Tax. With the big beautiful bill, I can help you with your federal, state, city, and income tax. The Treasury Secretary said that this year, taxpayers will be receiving the biggest refund they've had in years. We at Swift Tax will maximize your refund. Call me now, 954-773-1587. That number rings directly to my cell phone, 954-773-1587.
Do you suffer from neuropathy? I did, until I went to Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano. Numbness, pain, burning, in my hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance, muscle twitching have all but disappeared. Say goodbye to your neuropathy symptoms. Call Lighthouse Medical Center for a free consultation. 754-222-6642. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
Hi, I'm Sloan Smith. At All Year, we offer same-day AC and I've been in business 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires. I have many suppliers. Whatever car or truck you have, I get you incredible deals on any tire. I also do tire repairs at very low prices. Give me a call. My number is 954-977-9445. I will give you a price over the phone on new and used tires. Again, my number is 954-977-9445. Thank you.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, and anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com.
All right. We're back. I'm Brian, Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. I just checked during the break. The free shipping offer with our promo code Kane at checkout is still in effect at MyPillow.com during the mega sale. And I'm surprised. What is today's date? Today's the 6th of March. I thought it would be gone. And I don't know, maybe the person that updates the website's on vacation this week. I don't know, but I would take advantage of that while you can. Go to MyPillow.com. Use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, Kane. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. So this is Fox News on the Kristi Noem, Markwayne Mullin issue and events and all. Let's see. Let's go.
Martha had been brewing for a couple months. It started in Minneapolis with all of the bad headlines that were coming out there every day. It escalated when Secretary Noem went on TV and called.
All right, it's live, people. Oh, yeah, the button that says on, that makes it work. Yeah, there you go.
Martha had been brewing for a couple months. It started in Minneapolis with all of the bad headlines that were coming out there every day. It escalated when Secretary Noem went on.
Okay, now I'd say this thing, what happened in Minneapolis, Preddy and Renee Good, I mean, listen, they both, what they did was wrong. I mean, you try to run over a federal agent, you take a gun and attack federal agents, it's a mess. But what Kristi Noem did there in Minneapolis, they got her sidelined in Minneapolis, by the way, was she referred to the protesters as domestic terrorists. Now, maybe that's true, but, one thing I point out quite a bit about President Trump never badmouths, never attacks the American people, the voters. He doesn't criticize individual people, citizens of this country, ever. He talks about politicians or maybe somebody who attacks him who's a celebrity or something. And President Trump did not like it when Kristi Noem called these protesters there domestic terrorists, okay? Because that's just not what he does.
Martha had been brewing for a couple months. It started in Minneapolis with all of the bad headlines that were coming out there every day. It escalated when Secretary Noem went on TV and called Alex Preddy and Renee Good domestic terrorists. It escalated further when Tom Homan was brought in to essentially be the shot caller there, and Noem and Greg Bovino were essentially sidelined. But then it hit a snowball effect this week with her testimony here on the Hill. And we just got some clarity as to what happened with Senator John Kennedy and Noem and the White House earlier this week. Senator Kennedy just gaggled with reporters here at the Hill a short time ago, and he gave us a bigger picture look at this. So he said ahead of that hearing, he had heard about this $200 million ad buy that DHS and Secretary Noem did. Of course, we've seen the...
Okay, now this ad buy, see, this was another big problem for her, okay? She was asked by, I'm pretty sure it was Kennedy, asked her, was there competitive bidding? And she said yes. Well, it turns out that the company that got the bid to do that $250 million in advertising Kristi Noem did was a company that was started 11 days before the bidding process and is owned by the spouse of a former spokesperson of Kristi Noem's. That's not good, is it? Not at all.
Ads where she's on horseback and she's featured heavily. There were some allegations that maybe there was some cronyism in those contracts. So Senator Kennedy said that he was offended by the size and scope of that contract. So he called up the White House and he said, we've got Noem on the Hill tomorrow. I would like to press her under oath and ask her about this contract. And he said the White House essentially didn't oppose it. said go ahead. So then we see that hearing on Tuesday where he pressed her about the contract directly, and he asked her repeatedly, did President Trump personally approve of this contract to spend $200 million on this ad contract? And Kristi Noem replied under oath that yes, he did.
Okay, now that was the final nail in the coffin. And by the way, I know some people out there are saying, hey, why are you giving Kristi Noem a hard time? If the president signed off on Senator Kennedy running her out of the cabinet position, I don't think the president would mind if we're talking about it here, all right?
Well, President Trump is now saying that that is not true. And just a short time ago, Senator Kennedy gave us a quote. He says President Trump called him after that hearing, after he saw Noem's testimony, and that President Trump was, quote, mad as a murder hornet, and said that he never approved that contract and didn't even know about it. I'm going to read a quote that Senator Kennedy just told us a short time ago, how he interpreted her testimony. He said, quote, I heard the secretary say that she went to the president and said, I propose to spend $250 million on TV ads in which I am the star. And the president thought that was a swell idea. That's what I heard the secretary say. Her version of the truth and the president's version of the truth are decidedly different. So, Martha, it sounds like, you know, everything started with Minnesota, with Minneapolis, with all the bad headlines, that kind of planted the seeds, and then everything really escalated this week in terms of her testimony here on the Hill. What she said under oath and what President Trump is now saying are two entirely different things.
Okay, so yeah, so that means she lied. And not only did she lie, this $250 million ad spend, she threw Trump under the bus with that and said that he did it when he authorized it when he did not, according to him. So that's it. She's out. She's fired, and has this new weirdo job that doesn't even exist yet until tomorrow. That's a major demotion, major demotion. You know, it's like I remember a big Democrat lost the governor's race here in Florida. Buddy McKay. Buddy McKay was Lawton Chiles' lieutenant governor, and he was running for governor, and Lawton Chiles died on the treadmill at the governor's mansion, and he became governor, and he ran against Jeb, and that's when Jeb won in 1998. He beat Buddy McKay, and Bill Clinton was still president, and they gave him this job. Ambassador, he became, it was very humiliating for the Democrats to lose the governor's race in Florida. And that's when Florida went Republican 100% and has been Republican ever since, right? And they were trying to save face, so they were looking for a job to give Buddy McKay, and Bill Clinton made him ambassador to the Americas. What the heck is that? Yeah, it's a nothing job, ambassador to the Americas. What a joke. And that's kind of what happened here. So, but this is a good thing because, you know, it's a good thing for many reasons. It was reported yesterday that there have been about 3 million deportations. That's not enough. It should be 10 million by this point, right? And I don't know how accurate that 3 million is. Maybe it's 5 million, but it was widely reported yesterday there's been 3 million. It's not enough. And now that we've got a citizen of the Cherokee Nation as Homeland Security Secretary with Markwayne Mullin, and this guy is pretty tough. Remember that time he was going to fight the guy and during the Senate hearing? He was ready to go fight him with fist right there in the hearing? I remember that. I don't remember who the guy was, but they were ready to go off, and Bernie Sanders stopped it, unfortunately. I wish that would have happened. He's a tough guy. He doesn't mess around, and the deportations are not only going to continue, they are going to get ramped up. All right, Sloman's Home Security is offering a free home security system with free professional installation and 24/7 central station monitoring. You get all that for just $24.95 a month for 5 years. You know, and that central station monitoring 24/7 is so important. Could you imagine if Savannah Guthrie had this Sloman system for her mother? The whole thing would have been solved within minutes. It may not have happened at all. That's right. It's a free home security system and professional installation, absolutely free. Your Sloman's home security system includes a touchscreen keypad, 3 door or window sensors, a motion detector, notifications, and remote keypad access, so you can check in no matter where you are located. Call Sloman's right now. The number's toll free, 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. All right, we'll take our bottom of the hour break and be right back.
Morning radio great again.
think you're gonna really love it.
It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. From the All-Year Cooling Weather Center, South Florida's #1 choice for same-day AC service.
What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, here we go.
Weather brought to you by All-Year Cooling. Enjoy free AC replacement estimates along with same-day service and installation. Visit allyearcooling.com to schedule your service today. And remember, the All-Year family is here to serve your family all year long. And now, a true oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
So far, so good this morning. 95's looking pretty good in both directions. Not too bad on the turnpike either. We have construction slowing down. Okeechobee Boulevard East before Vista Parkway, got the left lane blocked, and Southern Boulevard West beyond the turnpike, the left lane is blocked. That's traffic. I'm Billy Combs.
Your traffic brought to you by PBKC. This March, go for the green in the Pokeroo with PBKC. Don't miss exciting daily tournaments highlighted by our $100,000 guarantee Monster Multi-Flight running March 5th through the 8th. High hands hit every 15 minutes every day from 9 a.m. to midnight. $100,000 progressive weekends, $15,000 cash giveaway, bad beat jackpots, and non-stop table game action. Plus, the Bar Poker Open is here this week with plenty of exciting events. Get all the details now at pbkennelclub.com.
The secret to sustainable weight loss isn't the endless cycle of counting calories, extreme exercise, or taking the next trendy shot. It's about resetting your metabolism and creating simple, healthy habits to support it. I'm Dr. Adam Zuckerman with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, and that simple secret could change the rest of your life. So, stop yo-yo dieting and let's reset your metabolism naturally, safely, and effectively. Go to coastalweightlossecret.com to schedule your free consultation. That's coastalweightlossecret.com.
Hey, it's Brian Craig. Thanks to Dr. Zuckerman at Coastal Weight Loss Secret, I'm in the best shape I've been in decades. He makes it so easy. No exercise is required. And none of those prepackaged meals either, like bars or shakes. And my favorite part? No drugs or injections with the risk of serious side effects. If you're looking to lose weight and keep it on for good, then look no further than Coastal Weight Loss Secret and their Metabolic Reset Program. You can lose up to 10 to 20% of your body weight in just 60 days. Schedule your free consultation now.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
561-247-6300.
Hello? Yeah.
561-247-6300 or coastalweightlossecret.com. That's coastalweightlossecret.com. Results may vary.
This is Dr. Phil Appleton. I'm a chiropractic physician. I've seen thousands and thousands of patients in my career. I've been a chiropractic physician here in Pompano Beach for 40 years. We're open 6 days a week. If you have sciatica, you have bursitis, you have tendonitis, you're tired of taking the pills, the drugs, the injections, and you heard that you have to live with it, well, there's a lot of times you don't have to live with it. I've had great, great, great success with helping people. My testimonials are marvelous with patients. They love the treatment. There's no injections. There's no medication. There's no surgery. There's none of that. It's strictly either the laser, the acupuncture I do, or shockwave therapy I do. Open 6 days a week. Come in for the free consultation and be willing to look at you and help you.
Take advantage of that no-charge consultation with Dr. Appleton. Remember, appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 49 years on the air.
Alrighty, we're back. It is Friday, and of course on Fridays it's open phones. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. And on Open MAGA Mike Friday, you can call in about any and everything on your mind. You don't have to talk about anything I bring up. The number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning,
Oh, hey, Richie.
Richie.
Hey, Richie.
Hope you have a great weekend.
Always. Always.
Now, here's the deal. Mullen was an MMA fighter also.
Yeah,
You know,
that's right. That's true. You don't want to, one thing about fighting, and people might find this surprising. I have been in some fights when and you don't want to fight a boxer and you don't want to fight an MMA guy. Those people that take karate on the weekends, anybody can take them. But MMA fighter and boxer will beat you up.
and the guy that they almost had that fight with when they had that congressional meeting was the head of the Teamsters.
Oh, that would have been beautiful. Oh, a Teamster versus an MMA fighting senator? Why did Bernie stop that? Why did he stop that?
Mr. President.
Oh, man.
He was at the convention with Trump. Teamster president. Yeah, the
I
ball.
would have loved that. Yeah. That would have been great.
Now I'll throw this at you. I don't know why you. No, you always. I don't know why you're picking on Kristi Noem. I mean, she's so hot, and she shoots dogs.
Puppies, and brags about it.
And she sits there with a look on her face like she's high. She talks like I've watched her even when she was governor. I got to tell you, and that's what makes Washington D.C. so bad. President Trump gave her a break by putting her in there. Okay, not for nothing. I think because he felt he owed her something because she gave him a big thing at the when he went out for the 4th of July, that big event in South Dakota, and she was a good governor. But how much money did she steal as a governor? Because obviously she's just
this ad thing she did was a follow-up. She had a series of ads when she was governor in South Dakota that was the same thing, and it was pretty high-end stuff. It was her doing different jobs, like she'd be a nurse in one ad or something else in another ad to get people to move to South Dakota. But those were campaign ads like these were.
Yeah, but $200 million.
$250 million, 220. But here's the thing, Richie. The company that got the bid was a company founded 11 days before the bidding and was owned by the spouse of a former spokesperson of hers. So it's obviously corrupt.
And they only got their license to be a company 6 days prior to that. And it was all, and her crony friends. And how much money of that did come back?
Well, the way, and these when you have a company that handles advertising, it's like a advertising agency. An advertising agency, the standard practice is they get 20% off the top, right? So that's if it's an up on the boards, above the board, and everything is honest. 20% of $250 million, holy smokes.
Yeah, she lied. She actually lied at that hearing
about the
and it's just and then she had the biggest gaffe of all when she called those Americans that were killed. And let me say something: they were not domestic terrorists, but yes, they were domestic terrorists. The Democrats jumped on that, and they made that guy, that nurse who hadn't worked in that hospital for like 6 months prior to that, a hero. Let me tell you something. I know he's dead and everything like that. A week prior to that, he attacked ICE officers.
You're talking about Preddy. You're talking about Preddy.
Yeah, they had that all on tape. The guy his family said that he became obsessed with this stopping ICE. I mean, he was like a radically obsessed crazy man. And that's why it affected his job, it affected his home life. And the guy was unhinged, and I don't say.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Okay, while they may be domestic terrorists, President Trump never attacks or criticizes or says anything negative about the voters or the American people. He talks about politicians. He talks about people that go after him publicly or celebrities. And as soon as she said that, she was out of Minneapolis. And it was a disaster there. It was a disaster there, and everything that happened. I mean, like Harry Truman, the buck stops here, and she was responsible for that, and it got into a chaotic situation because of her.
And it gave fodder to the Democratic Party. They were able to attack You know, President Trump is squeaky clean. And most of his cabinet, I hope everybody in his cabinet is squeaky clean. She turned out to be not squeaky clean. She's a thief.
And let me tell you, there will probably be an investigation about that money because of the strange thing with this company that got the $250 million deal. It was 100% corruption.
Yeah, I got a deal with you, right? And I give you a contract, and I give you $220 million, but you say, "Hey, Richie, thanks a lot, man. This is great for us. I'll throw back half of it to you." This is so dirty, so stinky.
Yeah.
And that's to me that meant everything. Her credibility. I mean, her character. Something wrong with this woman.
There's no way. When she was asked about if she ever had sex with Lewandowski, she didn't say no.
He took the garbage out. They got him on video. He was taking the garbage out like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
House.
Yeah.
Is he become the garbage man or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
Would he sleep on the couch?
And you guys, if you guys remember, President Trump, I know he's saying good things about Corey Lewandowski. Corey Lewandowski was President Trump's original campaign manager in the first campaign, and yeah, he did. He fired him, and when he fired him, this was on the front page of the New York Post. He fired him. This was before Kellyanne Conway and Bannon came in. They replaced, when he fired Bannon from the first campaign, he was escorted out by security from Trump Tower carrying a box of all of his stuff. Remember that?
Why he was fired? You know why he was fired? There was a pundit and she was a good-looking woman, worked for Fox as a pundit. Her name was Fields. I forgot the first name.
Yeah.
Very good looking.
I remember.
He shoved her.
He knocked her down. And then there was another incident with, and by the way, that was on video when Corey Lewandowski did that. Then there was another incident where Trump let him back in, and who was that? Joy Vila. Remember Joy Vila? She's the black singer that went to the Grammys in the MAGA dress. And she filed a police report in D.C. against Corey Lewandowski, saying that he grabbed her butt or something like this at the White House, I remember, in the first term.
Corey Lewandowski is a little bit off, too. I mean, not for nothing. And he's a little off. Trump cannot have people around him like this because the press are looking for this. The press, the Democratic Party, he's got to keep everything on the up and up, and I believe he is on the up and up, 150%. You're going to have callers going to say that's Trump's fault. No, it's not Trump's fault. She is a garbage can. I'm sorry.
I didn't like when she wrote that story about killing the puppy, which little puppy, and then she threw it in a ditch and picked the kids up from the school bus stop. I mean, that was strange. And this story about Corey Lewandowski with the Coast Guard pilot getting into a screaming match in the cockpit and then firing him and then having to hire him back over this sweater. These incidents, if these are the ones we know about, these two were going. Yeah, she bought this plane for herself, and I mean, her and Corey Lewandowski were going around acting like insane people, like Bonnie and Clyde.
Exactly. And they had that plane that had the bedroom. It was so fancy. Didn't have to be like that. They made it like...
Yes, the bedroom. Yes.
The bedroom in there. It's a total... It's amazing to me. And she deserved to get fired. And you're right. The only reason she's got a position now is to keep her quiet because they don't want to go on there sour grapes and complain.
Yeah. It would have only been, this all would have been Trump's fault if he had not fired her. But he fired her. All right, Richie, take care. All right. Yes, absolutely. There's too many. Could you imagine, these are the things we know about with Kristi Noem and Corey Lewandowski. Could you imagine what they were doing that we don't know about? I mean, there's, a lot of times, people just get out of control. They just get out of control. And sometimes people that are that age, they when they get involved in these freaky sex things, like this kind of arrangement that they had, apparently, they lose sense of reality and things get crazy. All right, listen, we'll take our last break of the first hour. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered mornings 6 to 9.
You have tendinitis, you're tired of taking the pills, the drugs, the injections, and you heard that you have to live with it. Well, there's a lot of times you don't have to live with it. I've had great success with helping people. My testimonials are marvelous with patients. They love the treatment. There's no injections, there's no medication, there's no surgery, there's none of that. It's strictly either the laser, or the acupuncture I do, or shockwave therapy I do. Open 6 days a week. Come in for the free consultation and be willing to look at you and help you.
Take advantage of that no-charge consultation with Dr. Appleton. Remember, appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. Open enrollment may be over, but that doesn't mean your Medicare questions are. If you're turning 65, new to Medicare, moving, or qualifying for a special enrollment period, you may still have options. Don't guess when it comes to your healthcare coverage. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors at 954-753-8080. That's 954-753-8080. She'll walk you through your Medicare Advantage, your supplements, and your prescription drug plans. Then help you find coverage that fits your needs and your budget. You don't have to figure this out alone. Call Debbie today at 954-753-8080. That's 954-753-8080. Debbie can help you with your Medicare no matter where you're located in the state of Florida. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. I Will Advisors, helping you make Medicare simple. When you need lab work, don't waste hours and hours waiting at the doctor's office or one of those big labs. Go to Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Their prices are guaranteed to be the lowest you'll find anywhere. No appointment, doctor's order, or prescription is needed, and you're in and out in 15 minutes or less. They offer every lab and blood work your doctor could order. They even have drug testing and STD testing. Take control of your healthcare and visit Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. There's lots of Any Lab Test Nows around, but these are the only two advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. And make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
Hi, I'm Sloan Smith. We love our Florida sunshine, but a hot house? Definitely not.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
AC and plumbing service and installation.
All right, hold on.
Yes, all year. Need help today? Yes, all year. Need plumbing help? Yes, all year. We're South Florida's #1 for comfort because our family is serving your family all year. Call us today at 833 all year. That's 833 all year.
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Sandra. I'm calling from Delray Beach. The Barry Siegel Law Group did such wonderful work for me, and I was very particular. I'm a professional myself, and I went to about 3 or 4 attorneys prior. They wanted to do what they wanted to do. They didn't want to add anything extra, but Barry tailored it to my needs. And it's not only the trust. There's so many other end-of-life documents, the living will, the will, and they tailored each one of them to my liking, and they were wonderful and always polite. And not only that, when you finish your documents and you leave this world, your beneficiaries could go there and they'll explain everything to them, which is a big deal. The Siegel Group is above and beyond any other attorney that I have ever contacted. Plus, they give you a big portfolio at the end with a leather-bound documents. It's beautiful.
Give the Siegel Law Group a call, 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is up.
All righty, we're back. I'm Brian to Steve Kane Show. You're on the air. Yes, you're on the air. Yeah, you're on the air.
My name's Denise Columbus, Ohio. I called for now, got online, and I've seen Trump fired Kristi Noem.
Correct.
Resign.
No.
Resign.
If she resigned, she resigned after Trump fired her.
Well, my sister watches it all day on Newsmax, and that's
No, she misheard it. Your sister was incorrect. She was fired.
Okay. Well, they say who's next? I believe Pam Bondi will probably be next because they've been giving her a lot of shit too.
Oh, there we go. Oh my goodness, first one of the day. I mean, you know, what is it with the you know, and a woman at that? Did you check and make sure the delay's on? Okay. First thing I do every day, make sure the delay's on. Oh my goodness. You know, some callers, as soon as they're on, I'm ready. I got my finger next to the dump button. But a lady like that, would you ever expect? That's someone's grandmother right there. Oh my goodness. All right. While we wait for the delay to rebuild, our number is toll-free 888-465-2631. I mean, if it were me, most of that language I'd let fly, but we're not allowed. 888-465-2631. Now, I just mentioned this about Pam Bondi. Okay? Here's the thing about Pam Bondi. President Trump had a big event with the soccer players yesterday, and not only was Pam Bondi there at the White House, President Trump made a big deal of calling out Pam Bondi and praising her. In fact, I would say that he went out of his way to praise her and praise her and praise her because he knew people were saying, okay, you fired Kristi Noem, Pam Bondi should be next. And he wanted to make sure she's not on the thing. And for people who think that Pam Bondi should be fired, President Trump thinks she's doing a great job. I mean, the way he was talking about her yesterday. So you got to stick with President Trump. He's sticking by her, and he says she's great. And President Trump knows more about what's going on than we do. All right, so this is a clip. This is the president yesterday when he had the soccer players with him from Miami. I think they're based in Doral, this soccer team. I could be wrong, but they're in Miami. You know, to people outside of Florida, everything's Miami, right? It's always, and no matter where it is in South Florida, it's all Miami to them. But anyway, here he is. This one, he had the soccer players behind him, and he was talking about the Iranians. Listen.
And before we begin, I think I will say a few words about what's going on with respect to our operation in the country of Iran. The United States military, together with the wonderful Israeli partners, continues to totally demolish the enemy far ahead of schedule and at levels that people have never seen before, actually. We're destroying more of Iran's missiles and drone capability every single hour, knocking them out like nobody thought was possible. As soon as they set off a missile, within 4 minutes, the launcher gets hit. They don't know what's happening. But we have the greatest military anywhere in the world. Their Navy is gone. 24 ships in 3 days. That's a lot of ships. Their anti-aircraft weapons are gone. So they have no air force. They have no air defense. All of their airplanes are gone. Their communications are gone. Missiles are gone. Launches are gone. About 60% and 64% respectively. Other than that, they're doing quite well. I said, what's left? But they're tough, and they want to fight. And they're calling, they're saying, how do we make a deal? I said, you're being a little bit late, and we want to fight now more than they do. We've had 47 years, depending on the way you count it, but 47 years of horror with this group. And, you know, when you see somebody walking down the street without their legs, without the arms, whose face is so badly affected and hurt, it mostly came from 95% Soleimani and Iran, and we, other presidents, lived with it. I didn't live with it.
Okay, so there's an interesting thing that's going on. This is the first war that we've been in since the Second World War that was being fought to win it. Okay, being fought to win it. And I give you a couple examples and what's going on. One, I talked about yesterday, Richie called, we were talking about the sinking of this Soleimani ship, right? Which was their prize ship named after their big hero that Trump killed in his first term. We sunk that ship with a torpedo. It was the first time a United States submarine sunk another vessel with a torpedo since 1945, the Second World War, which is pretty cool. I thought torpedoes were obsolete. I didn't realize they were still like real weapons, but they are. But look at how the Soleimani behaved, right? It was in international waters and they thought they were safe. What went through their mind? You know, this is how our country was fighting wars. Oh, international waters, we can't do anything about it? That's crazy. That's crazy. What's going on now is, and this is what you heard with President Trump. He didn't say it this way, but he talked about how they're calling and wanting to surrender. A couple of things President Trump's doing. This is a policy of total war. In the Second World War, the Japanese never did this, but the Germans on several occasions, top Germans, even before we were involved in the war, were trying to have peace talks. They were trying to initiate peace talks so that the Nazi regime could survive in some way, shape, or form. And the Allies, the United States and the other Allies, were not interested in that. It was total war, total unconditional surrender. That's what President Trump's doing here. He's not interested in negotiating. I've got something coming up after the top of the hour with Megyn Kelly that's really twisted about Iran. I'm going to share it with you after the top of the hour, so don't miss that. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll get to the calls in a little bit. But anyway, he's not interested in any type of negotiation whatsoever. Zero. This is total war until they no longer have a functioning machine to fight. And so far as their Revolutionary Guard, the IRGC, whatever they call it, the Revolutionary Guard, this is their secret police, and President Trump said yesterday in that same meeting that they've offered amnesty to them. Put down your arms and amnesty. This, you know, and all these people out there that are talking about Iraq 2.0, I was telling you on the show yesterday or day before, I do so many shows, I can't keep track of which day was which, but unlike Iraq and Vietnam, we've got Iran completely surrounded. Nothing is getting in. In Iraq, they had an open border with Syria, and they were getting resupplied with everything they needed, including people and weapons, nonstop through the Syrian border. Vietnam had a border with China where everything was pouring in, people and more fighters and equipment and weapons and such. Iran's totally cut off. But what George Bush did in Iraq was, you might say stupid, but I think it was by design because he wanted the war to continue forever and ever to pay off his donors. But what Trump is doing here is the opposite of what Bush did in Iraq. And it's what he did in Venezuela. He left this corrupt vice president in charge in Venezuela to be the president and left everybody down there in charge that was working with Maduro. And that's why everything's gone so smooth. Remember, I was telling you, you don't want to fire and get rid of all these people. You'll have chaos. Who's going to run the police? Who's going to run the power company? Who's going to run the water treatment plant? You know, all of that. Who's going to make sure the traffic lights are working and all that stuff? And what President Trump is doing here is the same thing. Lay down your arms, complete amnesty. And a lot of these guys, did you see there's a warning sign on the thing there? I don't know if it's going to stop us from going to break at the top. I don't know, Mike. Everything's so computerized. It may be nothing, but I don't know. I don't know if it froze up. Okay. I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Oh, okay. Yeah. He's offering them an opportunity to lay down their arms and still have a functioning infrastructure in the country. In Iraq, Bush dismantled everything. Their local police, their army, the entire infrastructure of the country was totally shut down and it collapsed. He's not doing that here, just like he did in Venezuela. You know, and there's no negotiation. Now, after the top of the hour, I'll go back to the calls. If you'd like to call in, it is open phones on Friday, open Mega Mike Friday, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. I got a clip I want to play after the top of the hour of Megyn Kelly, which really calls into question what's going on with her involving this war. That's coming up. I want to talk about Friendly Tire in Margate. Oh, man, Friendly Tire in Margate. You know, new tires out the door and on the road as low as $75 a tire. Good used tires as low as $35 a tire out the door and on the road. And remember, when I say out the door and on the road, Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire, mount the tires, or dispose of your old tires, okay? That's the out the door on the road price. All right, give Friendly Mike a call. He'll give you a quote right over the phone. He also does tire repairs like he helped me out with about a week and a half ago. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire. Make sure you tell him I sent you, all right? Okay, if you're on hold, don't go anywhere. After the top of the hour, we'll go to the phones. And hear what you all have to say. I'll get to this Megyn Kelly thing too, and I got a whole bunch more. I can't believe it's Friday already. I mean, this week just flew by. Our number is toll free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. We'll be back right after our top of the hour break.
But it went away.
Yeah, it went away. Okay, good. I thought it might have frozen you from doing the spots.
No, I thought it was going to, and because it says, you know, it was going to exit out the application.
Yeah, it was.
This whole thing's just going to go away.
That's what it said.
Because I was like, I didn't want to touch anything, and all of a sudden just...
It went away? Isn't that crazy?
Okay.
That's nuts. Well, I got lucky.
Usually when that happens, like, just, like you said, it'll just freeze up. But
Yeah.
It just resolves itself.
Yep. Well, we got lucky.
Today will be mostly sunny and breezy, and then mostly sunny with a high of 77 degrees. Into the evening, a slight chance of showers and breezy with a low of 73 degrees. On Saturday, another slight chance of showers, a high of 77 degrees. Saturday night, it will be mostly clear with a low of 73 degrees. And on Sunday, it's going to be a nice one. It's going to be very sunny, a high of 78 degrees. Sunday night, mostly clear, a low of 74 degrees.
Weather brought to you by Code Red Roofers. Roofers who respond. Serving South Florida for over 20 years. Promoting integrity over profitability.
What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, man. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay, hold on. What's your name? Where are you calling from? There you go.
Pretty good as you make your way through Palm Beach County in both directions. I'm not seeing any major problems on the turnpike either. Got a fender bender, Australian Avenue at 29th Street. Looks like a lane block there. Be careful. That's traffic. I'm Billy Combs.
Your traffic brought to you by PBKC. Comedian Joe DeVito from Gutfeld is back live in the Paddock Restaurant on March 6th. His shows sell out every time, so get your tickets today. Plus, celebrate St. Patrick's Day on March 17th with an Irish buffet, live music, and Irish dancing, and keep the party going with Studio 54 and the Reaction Band on April 10th. Take your shot at thrilling daily poker tournaments, exciting table games, and non-stop OTB action from all the top tracks. Get all the details now at pbkennelclub.com.
Brian Craig here. When it comes time to get my blood work done, I don't have time to spend hours in the doctor's office or waiting hours for those big labs. That's why I go to Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs for all of my lab work. Their techs are highly skilled and professional, and their prices are guaranteed to be the lowest on lab work you'll find anywhere. Appointments aren't necessary. Doctor's orders and prescriptions, they're not needed either. I'm in and out in 15 minutes or less. I get the results the next day in my email box, and they also send it to my doctor. There's lots of any lab test nows around, but these are the only two advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Any Lab Test Now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza. That's where the Western Beef is, between Palmetto Park Road and Hillsborough Boulevard on the east side of State Road 7, 441. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood by the Coral Square Mall. Call Any Lab Test Now of Boca at 561-237-5009. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs number is 954-906-5983. And don't forget to mention that you heard about them on the radio.
This is Jamie Lee back with the Swift Tax. With the big beautiful bill, I can help with your federal, state, city, and income tax. The Treasury Secretary said that this year, taxpayers will be receiving the biggest refund they've had in years. We at Swift Tax will maximize your refund. Call me now, 954-773-1587. That number rings directly to my cell phone, 954-773-1587.
Hey, what's up? All right, how are you? If you're on hold, hang in there.
I will give you a price over the phone on new and used tires. Again, my number is 977-9445. Thank you.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian.
All righty, callers on hold, stand by. It is open phones on Friday, open Manga Mike Friday. Any and everything on your mind is fair game on Friday. The show prep is up to you. So I hope you did some good researching, because sometimes the open Manga Mike Friday is the best show of the week. And then, remember that guy that called in about the frozen peas? And then, well, somebody called in about their water bill the other, oh my, none of that, please. We do have to have some quality control. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Paul from Broward County.
All right, Broward, what's on your mind?
I would like to know what is fired. Why is she allowed to be in another position in the government? She should be gone.
Well, because, I mean, technically, she's not been fired. She's been offered a lower position, but she's been fired.
Really? She should be investigated.
What has she done?
She lied. She lied to Congress.
Mm-hmm. Possibly, yeah.
So why should she should be fired for that?
Well, a lot of times when employers want to fire someone, they don't just fire them, right? Like sometimes they'll cut back their hours, or they'll give them a job that they really don't want. Like Jim Acosta at CNN. CNN, they wanted to get rid of him, so they moved him to 10 o'clock at night, or 11 p.m. or something like that at night from his primetime show, and then he quit. So a lot of times employers give people, they don't fire them outright, they give them a job to try to get them to quit, like a humiliating thing, right? So she might quit.
I guess so.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you. Oh, boy. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Happy Mega Mike Friday, IB in Broward.
Hey, IB.
And, man, them millions. Boy, did John Kennedy ripped into her last night. I've never seen him so hot, and I've seen him angry, but I think he felt a personal self of betrayal because it's a Republican working under Trump. And, it doesn't really make our party look good in that kind of a light, but that's a lot of money, no matter how you look at it. And you can do a good job and still be a crook in a way. We talked about, you beat me to the punch, I believe, yesterday, Brian, when you mentioned how Iran had our soldiers, when they what do you call it? They had them as prisoners, okay?
Yeah.
It's called temporary POWs on their knees. I tell you guys, I'm a Western and a war movie guy. Our submarine finally seen some action because let's not forget Iceland with the Russians and the Chinese boats like swimming around Iceland like a shark, not knowing that our lethal weapon, like Pete Heck just said, was just basically just sitting underneath the ocean. You're just kind of watching them go by.
See, I thought submarines just really were just nuclear missile platforms at sea. I didn't realize that. I knew they had torpedoes, but I didn't realize they still use that kind of stuff.
That is the bread and butter because you're going to be underwater when you use it. You don't have to launch missiles if you don't necessarily need it, like the Trident missiles. That's for like hitting cities more so.
Yeah.
A boat.
Yep.
We're going to use our torpedoes, but that was really good to see that our submarine not only got action but revenge.
Yeah, I took a tour of a submarine once at Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale, and it was a stealth submarine, and it had a rubber coating around it. And I went inside, and I got really lucky, and I got to take a tour of it, and it showed where the lowest ranking seamen bunked. And they had these little mattresses that were underneath the torpedoes. And each one of the seamen would sleep under a torpedo on this submarine. And I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, that was...
Because they always have to be ready at all times to launch the torpedo. And every space in the submarine is actually used. Brian, it's called boomers. You should just one day just kind of look at how they live, the food they eat, which is the best in the military. The best is better than any other...
I've seen the movies. I've seen Das Boot. You ever see Das Boot?
Das Boot. And
yeah, that's the U5. It's U571 is okay, but the Das Boot is like the best. That's the best submarine movie ever made. All right. Which one? The one with Harrison Ford sucked. The Russian one. What was that one called? What was that one called? The one with Harrison Ford and Liam Neeson. Oh, what was it called? I forgot.
They were trying to get the Enigma machine. They were trying to get the Enigma.
No, that's you. The one with the Enigma was U571. The one with Harrison Ford was Russian. Oh, I cannot remember the Widowmaker was the one with Harrison Ford. The Widowmaker.
You saw Susie Wiles last night getting the medal? When they congratulated Susie Wiles, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Part of the speech.
Yes. All right, IB. Take care. All right, out of material. Okay. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, conservative.
Oh, hey, Doug.
Okay. Now, Kristi Noem, I would bet that if she was a Democrat and is a Democrat president, and she was in front of Congress, every Democrat would have said, what a wonderful job you're doing. We're so glad you're with it, blah, blah, blah. And then the Republicans probably wouldn't say anything. Instead, we got Republicans telling her to resign, and then they won't fund the organization. So President Trump really had no choice but to.
Well, they voted last night to fund ICE. So he fired Kristi Noem, and then they got the funding.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to argue about them not funding it when the secretary spends $250 million on campaign ads featuring herself.
Yeah, that was I think the reason why President Trump got rid of her. Man, that was not nice. I was surprised. I like Kristi Noem, but man, what she did was not right. But so she's been replaced. But man, I'm so tired of the Republicans giving talking points to the Democrats. Like the first thing I heard the other day.
Well, what's the talking point we gave? Which one are you talking about?
Oh, Megyn Kelly. What happened to Megyn Kelly? What happened to Tucker Carlson? What happened to everybody that was going against President Trump? I says, well, these people aren't MAGA. MAGA doesn't care. MAGA is 98% in favor of President Trump. These people were on our side at one time. They changed their mind. Now we don't care about them.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
You do?
Yeah. All right. Appreciate the call, Doug. All right. Now, listen, after the break, I'm going to go right into the Megyn Kelly thing because I'd forgotten to do it after the top, and then Doug mentioned Megyn Kelly, so I just pulled it up, and I'll share this with you. She's Megyn Kelly's going through the most difficult time of her life right now as well, and I'll tell you about that when we get back. But first, I want to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. You know, I was listening to the recorded spot with me and Dr. Zuckerman a little while ago for Coastal Weight Loss Secret, and I listening to Dr. Zuckerman, who's absolutely amazing. He said, "How much weight do you want to lose, Brian?" I said, 25 pounds before the cruise. This was last year. He says, "When's the cruise?" I said, "It's a month away." He says, "No problem." I'm like, this is the first time I met him, right? I'm like, okay, whatever. And he's like, no, and I lost that in 3 weeks. And by the cruise, I lost even more. And that was last year's cruise. But I was listening to the recorded commercial with Dr. Zuckerman and myself in the last hour. And Dr. Zuckerman explains what he did. And I now I understand not only I've lost all the weight, but I haven't gained anything back. And when I went out of town last weekend to Key West, with visiting my friends, they were feeding me like a stuffed pig. I mean, first thing we did is we went out to a bar, and what did we have other than drinks? Key lime pie. And not only key lime pie, it had like a 2 or 3 inch layer of, I don't know, what do you put on it? I don't know what whipped cream, whatever it was on top. I was eating that. Then somebody, and then one of the group said, "Oh, there's this place we got to go to. They have key lime pie on a stick covered in chocolate." You know, and I said, "You guys know that I talk about yeah, I know they all know about Coastal Weight Loss." So I was eating like, a lot, and I have not gained an ounce back even after all that. Even after all that, the booze, which I had a lot of, the key lime pie on a stick covered in chocolate, didn't get anything back. And what Dr. Zuckerman said is it's a reset of your metabolism. And you know what? That's exactly what it is. I have reset my metabolism with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, and that's why I haven't gained any of the weight back. Call Coastal Weight Loss Secret. We have listeners all over the United States who have called and are losing weight. If you're local, you can go and meet Dr. Zuckerman in person, and you should. He's awesome. Give him a call and schedule your no-charge consultation, 561-247-6300, 561-247-6300, and online, coastalweightlossecret.com. We'll be right back. Key lime pie is awesome. What's your name? Where are you calling from? It's one call per show. You already called. You didn't call? Okay, the other guy sounded like you. Okay, all right, hang in there. You sounded like a guy that called earlier. All right, hold on.
Dental 954-4633. 954-922-4633.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on
All righty. We're back. I'm Brian, Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Legally Blind Man Robel from Fort Lauderdale.
Legally blind man from Fort Lauderdale. Okay.
Yes, am I on in the air?
You're on the air.
Okay. First of all, it's open on Friday, so I just had a couple things. The Somali pirate thing that you were saying, I think that's kind of a derogatory term because just because they're known for pirating since like the 90s back in Somali, you could just say they're frauding the.
I could, but I'm not. Somalis are known as pirates. There's no doubt, and if they're stealing billions of dollars in Minnesota, I mean they're pirating too. They're just doing it in a different way. Why?
You could just say they're frauding or
they're frauding.
They're stealing, they're frauding. You don't have to say pirating. Tennessee is known for having the KKK. Does that mean if I meet a person from Tennessee, I just say KKK?
Well, if the Klan, if the Klan were doing something, we would say the Klan is doing this. You know, the Somali pirates, they found a different way to pirate, to plunder. Just move into a neighborhood in Minneapolis and open up a clearing center. It's easier than hijacking ships.
Learning.
Yeah.
Hey, learning, I understand. But you said that Obama, so I was correct in saying, Obama did not know when he brought them in what they were going to do. I mean, you act like they knew.
Really? What did you know, listen, Somalia, the people of Somalia is really a prehistoric nation. It's not even a real country. It's less than an anarchy. They don't even really have even a tribe over there. Really, I mean, it's a prehistoric level. They're like, not really, no. So when you bring people from a prehistoric society, from less than an anarchy, and you drop them down in a major American city, what do you think they're going to do? Become doctors and lawyers? What do you think they're going to do?
No, Somalis are very well educated.
No, they're not. No, in fact, all of the. Are you Somali or something?
No, I told you last time that I'm a naturalized citizen. I came at 3.5 from Ethiopia.
Okay, Ethiopia. Okay. Well, I mean, I've read a lot of reporting that the average Somalian IQ is around 60, which is less than room temperature.
Jeez.
60.
I haven't heard. Okay. One other topic. You say the mayor of New York.
Mamdani.
How is he a communist? If I understand he's a secular Muslim or something. Communists don't believe in religion. So how is he a communist? I mean, is his views, his socialist views, is it socialist?
Well, first of all, who says he's a non-religious Muslim? Who says that?
No, I don't know. So if he is religious or whatever, or secular or whatever,
he's not secular. If you go, as an example, Cuba. Cuba's a communist nation, yet the Catholic Church has always been there. The Soviet Union, the days of the Soviet Union, they still had the Russian Orthodox Church. Yeah, so there's still religions in communist situations.
Example, China, for example, is no religion. Vietnam, they have Buddhism.
Well, that's a different. But that's totally different. There's no comparison. Like Russia. You know, the Soviet Union and Cuba are like Western civilizations. And the Muslims are kind of too, because there's been so much European contact with them. It's not the same thing. By the way, you say you're legally blind. Like, how much can you see? Can you read things? Can you read?
Yeah, I have to hold it like a half an inch from my face, but I can.
Well, okay. So how blind are you? How blind are you? You say legally blind.
legally blind, like as I explained last time, as far as the law is concerned on paper. But in actuality, I have vision. I mean,
Oh, so you
city bus for 10 years. Yeah.
well, like, can you watch TV and movies and see them?
I'm like you, I'm a news junk and a sports junkie. Now, when I
No, I'm just trying to find out how blind you are. Like, if somebody walks into the room, can you recognize them, or are they just a blur?
no, it's kind of like a shadow or something.
A shadow.
As if somebody would, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Recognize details, yeah.
Okay.
Lastly, the Iran war. I don't know what I have to say much about that. Killing the supreme leader. He said he was going to do something, meaning MAGA Trump, who I voted for last election. He said he was going to do something early when they started killing protesters.
And he did. And he did. And he did.
No. First it was like 1,000, then it went to like.
When you vote, you say you voted for Trump. How do you know you're voting for the right person if you're legally blind?
No, they had people at the library tell you.
Oh.
Who do you want? Conservative.
So one of the people somebody that works at the voting location votes for you?
No. Like I said, I can see things if I hold.
Can you? Okay, so you can when you vote, you can see the ballot. You can read the name you're pushing.
Yes, I can.
Okay, all right.
I can see.
All right, don't trust those people at the voting locations. Most of them are liberals. They're very nasty.
Okay, well, I could see, and the guy that I voted for won, so
there you go.
Vote counted.
Yeah, that's right. All right, take care. Appreciate it. I told you, a lot of visually impaired people listen to radio. We have a very large blind listenership. Every time I talk to a blind caller, I told you about the sighted guy. Oh my gosh. The best, I know I've told this many times, but I wish I had this on tape. This was like my favorite hate call I ever got. I'm in this argument with this guy. I don't remember what it was, a long time ago. And then he yells at me, and he called me a sighted bastard. And that was like the best. I couldn't help. That was like my favorite hate call, and I just didn't have it on tape back then. But I wish I did. But we do have a lot of visually impaired people. That's why I was asking. All right. We'll take our break for the bottom of the hour. Our number is 888-465-2631. Before you travel, especially as you get older, right? But at any time, really, before you travel, you always want to get yourself checked out and make sure you're A-OK and healthy. And there's no better place to do that than Life Imaging FLA. This is the time of year that people are planning trips, planning vacations. A lot of you are going with us on our cruise in a couple of weeks. Before you travel, go over to Life Imaging FLA, get the heart scan, get the cancer screen, make sure everything's cool, that you're in good shape before you travel, all right? Yeah, nothing wrong with that, and people do that all the time. Life Imaging FLA have locations in Palm Beach, Broward, and Dade County. Call Life Imaging FLA for your free heart scan now with a few minimum requirements, valued at $699. From your cell phone, call pound 250 and say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. That's pound 250, just say free heart scan, and you will be connected in seconds. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. On the radio since 1977. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. From the All-Year Cooling Weather Center, South Florida's #1 choice for same-day AC service and installation. Here's your oldies forecast.
What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello? What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hold on.
Weather brought to you by All-Year Cooling. Enjoy free AC replacement estimates shipments along with same-day service and installation. Visit allyearcooling.com to schedule your service today. And remember, the All Year family is here to serve your family all year long. And now, a True Oldies traffic check, brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club. That's your traffic, brought to you by PBKC. This March, go for the green in the poker room at PBKC. Don't miss exciting daily tournaments highlighted by our $100,000 guarantee Monster Multi-Flight running March 5th through the 8th. High hands hit every 15 minutes, every day from 9 a.m. to midnight, plus $100,000 progressive weekends, $15,000 cash giveaway, bad beat jackpots, and non-stop table game action. Plus, the Bar Poker Open is here this week with plenty of exciting events. Get all the details now at pbkennelclub.com.
Remember when vacation was simple, sunshine, good tunes, something frozen in your hand? Margaritaville at Sea brings back their award-winning cruises departing for Palm Beach and Tampa Bay. With half-off fares, kids sailing free on select dates, and free stateroom upgrades for the best view on the open ocean. Named #1 best ocean cruise line by Cruise Critic 2 years running. Margaritaville at Sea delivers laid-back luxury, non-stop fun, and memories that stick long after the tan fades. Book today at margaritavilletSea.com.
Law group did such wonderful work for me, and I was very particular. I'm a professional myself, and I went to about 3 or 4 attorneys prior. They wanted to do what they wanted to do. They didn't want to add anything extra, but Barry tailored it to my needs. And it's not only the trust. There's so many other end-of-life documents, the living will, the will, and I tailored each one of them to my liking, and they were wonderful and always, always polite. And not only that, when you finish your documents and you leave this world, your beneficiaries could go there and they'll explain everything to them, which is a big deal. The Siegel Group is above and beyond any other attorney that I have ever contacted. Plus, they give you a big portfolio at the end with a leather-bound documents. It's beautiful.
Give the Siegel Law Group a call, 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com.
Now, back to the Steve King.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian Craig, celebrating 40
Hello?
years
Hold on.
the air.
Oh, boy. All right. We're back. I'm Brian Steve Kane Show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, Fred Act here.
All right, Fred and Boca. What's up?
I got 2 points, then I'm going to hang up.
No. When people bring up things, we like to talk about them, not just make points and hang up and then have me do some riff. All right.
Problem. I happen to align with most of the things that you speak about.
Well, then you're very wise.
I find it very hard to understand how people don't align with that if they have a logical brain. But at any rate, when it comes to the Democratic Party, it's open Friday, and the Republicans, I am of the thought that I was hoping for a landslide victory by the Republicans, that hopefully the Democrats would take a step back and reestablish themselves, but instead they doubled down, which was unfortunate because it didn't go, the end result wasn't what I was hoping for, because I've always been of the belief that absolute power always corrupts absolutely, and I don't think it's the best thing that you have one party that dominates. You need a challenging party to keep everything in check somewhat. So the Democratic Party doubling down is bad news for the long term, I think, possibly because J.D. Vance or somebody from the Republican Party should be able to carry the torch forward, and if they control too long, then it might corrupt absolutely. That's just the thought that I had.
Well, I tell you, okay, all right. I'll just let you throw that out because I didn't really want to comment on that. Yeah, all right? I appreciate the call. Not much to comment on there. It is open phones, though. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Randy from Pennsylvania.
Hey, Randy.
Hopefully this time you won't call me a seminar caller.
Can you turn that? You've got a great show on in the background, the best actually. But can you turn the volume down?
Voted for him 3 times. Don't disagree with anything he's done up to this point. Don't disagree with anything he's doing at the current time. But the only thing I want to bring up, and maybe you can help me to understand. Over the last year, we've heard about energy dominance, and since the attack on Iran, the gas in my town has gone up 54 cents.
Yes.
Can you make me understand why that's happening with an attack from a country that we don't really rely on energy?
Yeah, it's simple. I've been talking about this all week, okay? You know, gas has gone up a lot here too. That's why it rained this morning. I was going to ride my Vespa this morning, because my Vespa gets 102 miles a gallon, but it was going to rain today, so I didn't want to ride it. But the reason gas is up is not because of this fighting with Iran. It's up because our local gas station people all over the country are price gouging us. They're using the Iran war as an excuse to raise prices. All the gasoline at your local gas station was bought and refined with oil before this even happened. So there's no scenario where the gas at our local gas stations, less than a week out, the prices have been affected. They're just raising the prices because they can. Gasoline prices are determined by, you know, the gas station owner. Price gouging.
Okay. And I understand that. But
it means they're crooks. They're ripping us off.
In Pennsylvania, we pay 53 cents a gallon in tax just for gas.
That's everywhere. In some states, it's more. It's here in Florida. In Florida, it's like 57 cents a gallon is in tax.
Holy man. Okay. Well, that was the only question I had. I'm not anti-Trump. I'm not black.
Okay. All right.
I'm a solid Trump supporter.
Okay.
You are, and I appreciate you.
All right. Well, appreciate the call. Take care. Take care. All right. So I want to get to this thing with Megyn Kelly, because I picked up on something now. A couple days ago, I was telling you all what Iran's war strategy is, right? Their war strategy. And they now this may have changed in the last couple of days because they're getting whooped, okay? But they have two strategies, either of which, if they accomplish it, they'll view it as a win. What they're trying to do now is not win a war against the United States. They're trying to set up a situation in which the Islamic clerics still run the country when this is all over, okay? And they're willing to take a lot of losses as long as they're still in power at the end, no matter how many people get killed. So the first strategy is the long game. Try to run this war on, keep it going as long as possible until there's a new president and they think they'll make a deal. But the main one they're trying to do more immediately is try to get Trump to, remember I told you this a couple days ago, they're trying to get President Trump to declare victory and pull out and end the war, right? Remember I told you that a couple days ago? There was an article about this in the New York Times, and it detailed the Iranian war strategy, okay? Try to get Trump to see that he's had a victory here, took out the Navy, took out the rocket launchers. Yesterday we just took out this drone carrier at sea. We got the Soleimani the day before, and declare victory, and the clerics are still in power. So there's a lot of, Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson are in big trouble. Laura Loomer had a conversation with the president over the weekend for 20 minutes on the phone, and she told him everything Tucker Carlson's been saying about him. And then the president came out yesterday and threw Tucker under the bus. You see that? But there's a lot of talk about Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson working for Iran or some other Muslim interest, right? I don't know, but I know a lot of people are saying this. And this is a clip of Megyn Kelly yesterday. Listen to this. Megyn Kelly.
The Navy, we control the airspace. That's great. We did a lot. Of course, our boys and gals in uniform got in there and did a stellar job, and that's great. Let's declare the W and get out.
The W, declare victory in the war,
Oh, and we sunk the Navy. We control the airspace. That's great. We did a lot. Of course, our boys and gals in uniform got in there and did a stellar job, and that's great. Let's declare the W and get out.
See, so now what she's doing is she's saying declare victory. I get declare the W. She's trying to sound hip. I'll tell you what that's about in a minute. But she's suggesting that she's us again, that President Trump declare victory and get out. Just say we won and get out, which is the Iran war strategy. So why is she recommending on her show that President Trump do what the Iranian war strategy is? Just declare victory. We'll go along with it. Oh, my goodness. She's, Megyn Kelly, what they're doing, she is right now dealing with severe depression. And I'll tell you why. She's been she's been saying things like she's Nick Fuentes. And Nick Fuentes, they call his fans gropers. I don't know why they call them gropers. I don't care. I don't know, but that's what they call. And they've been calling Megyn Kelly Grandma Groper. It's going around all over the internet. Mark Levin's been calling her Grandma Groper. And Megyn Kelly, if you've ever seen her in person and up close, she's not an ugly woman, but she looks very weird in person, okay? If you ever see her in person. Her legs are about as wide as a table. I mean, in person, she looks like she has an eating disorder, quite frankly. And her head's massive on this body that's like Karen Carpenter thin. But she has gone through her life. If you remember when she was on Fox News, I used to talk about this a lot. She had a transparent desk that was made of plexiglass. Remember this? And it was a ratings technique. She was always teasing this Sharon Stone Basic Instinct shot on her show. And she had this transparent desk. It was made of plexiglass. And she wore skirts. And it was a ratings gimmick. I used to talk about that a lot during the. And she's gotten through life in her mind being a hot woman and she thinks every guy wants to have sex with her. And I'm sure a lot of guys do. She's not ugly, and but this Grandma Groper thing that is going around, not many people want to have sex with a grandma, okay? Not even a lot, most grandpas. And that is a dagger in her heart. I promise you, she's freaking out. And Mark Levin is just going on and on about this because he knows, they know some of the same people. So he knows that this is like freaking her out. And that's gaining a lot of steam, and it's so bizarre. You gotta have a thicker skin. But when you go through life like she does, using your looks, and everything else to get through it, and that's what you get, and you think you're this big sex symbol, and then people start calling you grandma, and then all of a sudden you're not a sex symbol anymore. And it does a lot to her. So you're going to see her do things like that. Declare the W. I've never even heard that before. Declare the when. She's going to try to sound hipper all the time. That's why she's wearing these weirdo clothes on her program. Have you seen the way that she's dressing? She's dressing like she's 25, not 55 or 58 or however old she is. And nothing wrong with growing older. I mean, look at Pam Bondi's 60, right? She looks good. It's okay. You can look good and be in your 50s and 60s, in some instances. And she doesn't look bad. But, people that are in television, which is where she comes from, they're vain and insecure. And that's what she's about. All right, so our number is 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Detroit.
Yeah, Marty. What's on your mind?
You know what? I feel... Man, her and Tucker Carlson, they're from these type of people that's just America.
Uh-huh.
We stand for it.
Really? When you say they've turned against what we stand for, what do we stand for that they've turned against?
Well, America first. Carlson used to be a person that's a person. America. President Kelly used to be for Trump.
All right. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call, all right? Keep listening. All right. Okay, let's, what do I got left here? Oh! You know, it's Friday. What a great time to talk about Dr. Appleton. You know, appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays at Dr. Appleton, okay? And most of the time, when I go see Dr. Appleton, it's on Saturdays because I don't have to get up and be somewhere, and I can, you know, I got more free time on Saturdays. But walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays, and the consultation is free even on Saturdays. But as we're approaching the weekend, today's the weekend, at least it will be at 9 o'clock. Doesn't everyone's weekend begin at 9 a.m.? If you're in pain, go see Dr. Appleton and get your weekends back. You know, living in pain does not have to be a part of your life. You know, he's rid me of pain 7 times. None of the pains have returned. His robotic laser wave pain treatment works on every type of pain I've ever heard of. I'm going to quickly go through a list of some of the more common and most suffered from pains, but this is a very incomplete list. Arthritis, bursitis, bone-on-bone, gout, TMJ, pre-surgical, post-surgical pains, neck and back injuries, knee conditions, sciatica, tinnitus, spinal stenosis, fibromyalgia, plantar fasciitis, rotary tears, herniated disc, acute pain, chronic pain, all kinds of pains. If you're in pain, go see Dr. Appleton and say bye-bye to your pain like I've done 7 times. Remember, if you have scans, if you have x-rays, bring them with you. Dr. Appleton will look them over. If you have a surgery scheduled for pain, some pain-related thing, go see Dr. Appleton first. Take advantage of his robotic laser away pain system before you have that surgery, okay? 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back.
Hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Mean your Medicare questions are. If you're turning 65, new to Medicare,
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
for a special enrollment period, you may still
Hold on.
have options. Don't guess when it comes to your healthcare coverage. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors at 954-753-8080. That's 954-753-8080. She'll walk you through your Medicare Advantage, your supplements, and your prescription drug plans. Then help you find coverage that fits your needs and your budget. You don't have to figure this out alone. Call Debbie today at 954-753-8080. That's 954-753-8080. Debbie can help you with your Medicare no matter where you're located in the state of Florida. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. I Will Advisors, helping you make Medicare simple.
Do you suffer from neuropathy? I did until I went to Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in my hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance, muscle twitching, and all but disappeared. Say goodbye to your neuropathy symptoms. Call Lighthouse Medical Center for a free consultation. 754-222-6642.
Tom Laporta here from Laporta Roofing. Happy New Year, health, wealth, and happiness, and may 2026 be your best year. The first quarter of each year is the slowest for roofing contractors across Florida due to the lack of rain, vacationers, and recuperating from the holiday spend. We have secured 2024 pricing on certain roofing materials with our suppliers for the first quarter only. So if you are planning on a new roof in 2026, take advantage of our first quarter low pricing now. These savings are significant, especially for multiple building HOA and condo associations. This covers shingles, tiles, and flat roof systems, so give me a call on my cell at 954-604-4602 or find us on the web at laportaroofing.com. That number number again is 954-604-4602 or on the web at laportaroofing.com. We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve.
All right. And we're back. I'm Brian. It is the Steve Kane Show. And, it is raining outside. If you've got a wet spot on your ceiling, you want to call Tom Laporta because you've got a leak in your roof. Again, this number rings directly to his cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Dave from Pennsylvania.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, I was at the caller for Bernie Sanders a couple of callers ago. He sounded like him.
Oh, I don't know. Which one?
Yeah, a couple of callers ago, he sounded like Bernie Sanders to me.
Oh, those last couple callers weren't interesting enough for me to remember them.
And, with his voice, he sounded like him. But anyhow, I'm calling in, hopefully the Iranian people, if they get their country back and get the opportunity for freedom, I mean, President Trump can only do so much, so the ball will be in their court. Hopefully they won't let us down.
Well, we're gonna find out because, I have been hearing for years and years and years that the people of Iran don't like this government, which is, I hope it's true, but is it really? I mean, they have a young population there, right? I guess because they kill so many people. When people get older, I don't know. But they have a young population there, and they've been brainwashed 3 generations of this Islamic Republic stuff. So I don't know how much the people are on our side or not. I know, like the recent uprisings where they were shooting people in the street, that wasn't in Tehran. That was in some cities and other parts of the country. So, yeah.
And you're not going to root all of them out. There's a lot of them Islamic thinkers out there. And, maybe they might wait till Donald Trump gets out of office and then try to do a 1979 again. And on our side, we got to keep the pedal to the metal by having a strong president on our side.
Well, here's where things can start to run into a problem in Iran, okay? Like, we're all excited that our submarine torpedoed the Soleimani. Well, it killed all but 20 sailors on board, right? So, while we get all excited about that, their families aren't excited. And the longer we're there bombing these things, we could lose the support of some people that might not want the clerics in charge, right? Because we're blowing up their sons in these battles. I'm not saying it's wrong to do so, but if this goes on too long, we could start to lose support among the people over there if we even have it.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be too long. They've done a lot of damage right now.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they keep the pedal to the metal, I have my faith in Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
I think he'll handle it real well, and he's doing this.
I was really excited because President Trump, when he had yesterday, did you see when he had the soccer players at the White House yesterday? Did you see that event?
No, I missed that.
Well, he talked about this a lot. Marco Rubio was there, and he said that Marco Rubio has come up with something big for Cuba, and they're holding off on doing it until things calm down in Iran. He said when a country gets too many things going on around the world at once, it doesn't work out well. So and he said about 2 weeks. He said it a couple times yesterday, Trump. So they've come up with something big with Cuba. I'm dying to know what it is.
Yeah, speaking of Marco Rubio, that's the guy that I would like to see succeed President Trump.
I agree.
Personal.
Everybody does. And you think, yeah.
He showed me a different side of him than the hands thing in back.
That was a long time ago. It was like 12 years ago.
By him.
Yeah. I am too. Every MAGA person wants Marco instead of JD. But, I got to tell you, if you go back, every time someone got the nomination because they were next in line and it was owed to them, we've lost. John McCain, Bob Dole, the Democrats too, Walter Mondale. anytime somebody gets the nomination because they're next in line and it's owed to them, boom, you lose. And Marco Rubio has so many accomplishments going on.
And one last thing, Brian, is I'm an ex-veteran myself, and I'd like to see people put the American flag out if they can, because I put mine out every day. You know,
you're not an ex-veteran. You can't be an ex-veteran. You said ex-veteran.
Yeah.
You know, you're always a veteran.
Yeah, so I'd like to see more American flags out like they did in '01.
I'm putting a flagpole up at my house. I'm excited to do. I've wanted to do that for years. I'm having it installed. I'm not going to do it myself. If I do it myself, it might fall down during a hurricane. So I'm going to hire somebody to do it.
Call Trump up. He'll tell you who he had done.
I probably could not afford the people that the president used.
Put another one in their backyard. Oh,
that's true. That's true. All right. I appreciate the call. All right. Take care. Take care. Take care. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
You son.
Yeah. Well. Okay. I have been called worse. Just a quick mention. Did you see this congressman? His mistress set herself on fire. Tony Gonzalez, New York Post, Texas rep Tony Gonzalez drops out of the runoff race for re-election the day after he admitted to an affair with an ex-aide who fatally set herself on fire. I mean, what a crazy thing to have. You know, these congressmen, you know, the problem they run into is they go to Washington, but their wives are back home in their district. Rarely do the wives come to Washington with them. So these guys are all alone. Well, all alone. They don't have their wives with them. They're in Washington, and they have all these young girls working for them, and they get in trouble like this. You know, so if your husband ever I guess wives too, you got to look at, you know, look at Kristi Noem and Nikki Haley. They couldn't control themselves either. But when your spouse, you know, people like to think it's just men that have problems, right? And Kristi Noem, Nikki Haley, that school teacher. You see that school teacher that's going to prison for having sex with her teenage son's friend? And her teenage son turned her in. Did you see that? I mean, gee whiz. What kind of... She must be something else. But anyway, when your spouse gets elected to Congress or gets a job in Washington, go with them. Move there with them. And then you won't have the problems that these guys run into, right? Most of these guys in Washington cheat on their wives or spouses because that's how they get them to vote on things they want. It's part of the lobbying process. And a lot of these guys are not that good looking. And they get there and they send these, they send these honeypots to them. And whether it's Eric Swalwell, who's got the Chinese spy, or some lobbyist for this or some lobbyist for that, that's just what happens. Do you or someone you know suffer from neuropathy? Oh, man, if they do, you want to call Lighthouse Medical. Now, I want to tell you, Lighthouse Medical, they have a treatment for neuropathy that works and a treatment that lasts. Steve was rid of his neuropathy over 3.5 years ago now. From Lighthouse Medical. It works. The symptoms of neuropathy are pretty rough. The numbness, the pain, the burning, the tingling in your hands and feet, muscle weakness, dizziness, falling down all the time, the feeling of pins and needles in the hands and feet, no feeling at all. It's living torture, and your doctor will tell you there's no treatment for it. Well, that's not true. Lighthouse Medical has a treatment that works and a treatment that lasts. And Lighthouse Medical can treat you no matter where you are located, okay? They're in Pompano, and if you're local, go in if you can. But even if you're local and you can't make it in person, or you're in another part of the country or the world, they can still help you. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show so you can take advantage of the no-charge consultation. The number is 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jack, I'm in Delaware.
All right, Jack in Delaware.
know that Biden was responsible for all and like Lake and Riley, all the crimes committed by. Yeah. So right. So I guess then that Trump is responsible for the molestation. Trump pardoned and let out of jail. Is that right?
No.
No.
No. No. What was your name again?
Jack.
Jack, okay. I thought it might be Hunter from Delaware, the way you're talking.
Good one.
I love the fake laugh. I didn't hear a denial.
To the question, clown.
Excuse me?
Why don't you answer the question?
No. You said, why don't you answer the question? Yeah. What does that mean?
When you used to go to school, the short bus.
You got a problem with people that are mentally challenged?
Yes, you.
Mm-hmm.
So Trump is responsible.
No. Big difference.
Oh, then Biden's not responsible for the illegal aliens.
No. Big difference.
Lay it on me, Socrates.
No.
You seem stumped.
No, I'm not stumped. I just don't feel like answering your question. Because you're a creep. Your funny little giggles. You like to say molestation. You're a perv. I just don't feel like answering your question.
What excuse are we using today for why we attacked on? I get mixed up because I know there's like 20 different.
Listen, it's time for our top of the hour break. Thanks for calling, Hunter. You never know who's listening. We'll be right back. What's your name? Where are you calling from? What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, Len. Oh, yeah.
The Youngerman and Seal, we both gotta hit the break. Like, we have to come
Before?
Yeah, or, well, it's up to you.
Yeah, okay.
After, if I'll still cover them at the moment.
Do you have Barry's number?
The 929?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the Code Red Roofers Weather Center. Code Red Roofers. Roofers who respond. Call 844-4-CODE-RED. CodeRedRoofers.com. Here's your oldies forecast.
Mostly sunny and breezy, and then mostly sunny with a high of 77 degrees. In the evening, a slight chance of showers and breezy with a low of 73 degrees. On Saturday, another slight chance of showers, a high of 77 degrees. Saturday night will be mostly clear with a low of 73 degrees. And on Sunday, it's going to be a nice one. It's going to be very sunny, a high of 78 degrees. Sunday night, mostly clear, a low of 74 degrees.
Weather brought to you by Code Red Roofers. Roofers who respond. Serving South Florida for over 20 years. Promoting integrity over profitability. And focused on doing right over being right. Protect your home or office today with Code Red Roofers. Call 844-4-CODE-RED. CodeRedRoofers.com. And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Red lights popping up southbound 95, the off-ramp to Southern Boulevard. Disabled vehicle left lane blocked. 95 southbound running heavy between 6th Avenue South and Gateway Boulevard. It's traffic. I'm Billy Combs.
That's your traffic brought to you by PBKC. Comedian Joe DeVito from Gutfeld is back live in the Paddock Restaurant on March 6th. His shows sell out every time. Get your tickets today. Plus, celebrate St. Patrick's Day on March 17th with an Irish buffet, live music, and Irish dancing. And keep the party going with Studio 54 and the Reaction Band on April 10th. Take your shot at thrilling daily poker tournaments, exciting table games, and non-stop OTB action from all the top tracks. Get all the details now at bbkennelclub.com.
It's a deli, it's a bakery, it's a restaurant. We got cookies we can cater
It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right, the 8 o'clock hour has begun. You're on the air. What's your name? Yes, Jackie. Oh, boy, what was that? I don't know what... I just want to talk about the last call before I move on to some other things. Why didn't I answer his question? Which I will. I may answer in the course of me telling you why I didn't answer while I had him on the phone. This particular person he's talking about, the J6er that was pardoned, that I think, if I remember, he's got a, let me look, I think he got a life sentence. Let me see here, hold on. I don't have the article. I read the article this morning. He got a life sentence for some sex crimes, okay? When Hunter from Delaware called in, the reason I didn't answer his question was two reasons. One, I didn't appreciate the smile in his voice and the laughter and the giggles when he's talking about a sex crime victim and murder victims and such. I didn't like that. And, and a lot of these liberal never-Trumpers, they love to say vile sexual things. And they always have a smile in the voice. They're just creeps, and it seems like all of their calls involve some type of sexual perversion. And I don't like talking to creeps, okay? I mean, isn't there enough pornography on the internet? You don't have to call me, for your jollies. So that's one reason, okay, right out the box. But here's another one. And this is, I'm not saying that this is the new way for me, but what I've realized lately, and maybe I realized this too late in life, I don't know. I don't mind talking to liberals and Democrats, and you're always welcome to call in, okay? But there's no convincing these people in the course of a conversation, especially the ones who only call in about sexual perversions, the ones that are always bringing up Epstein or something like that. I'm just not interested in trying to have a conversation with somebody like that. And that's the category that Hunter from Delaware was in, and that's why I didn't answer him. Now, the difference between this guy and the Lincoln Riley people, see, here's the thing. What the Biden administration did was knowingly bring in the worst of the worst criminals. They knew these people were criminals when they got to the border. Okay? They knowingly brought in, by the tens of thousands, rapists and murderers. Knowingly did this. Okay? When someone gets a pardon, like some of these J6ers, there's a lot of them. Anytime, someone gets a pardon who's a U.S. citizen or something, they could go on to reoffend. If they do, that's crazy. There's a guy who calls the show on occasion, and he'll mention this in his call. He got a pardon from Trump in Trump's first term, and he did some other crime and got jammed up. He's called me several times. I can't remember his name. He hasn't called enough for me to remember his name. He's called up many times. He's a local guy. That's different than knowingly bringing into the country by the tens of thousands rapists and murderers, which they knew because they had records in their home country. These J6ers, like this particular guy, not everyone that was involved in J6 got a pardon. Some of them were let out, but not everybody got a break on their sentences. A lot of them didn't because they did background checks. President Trump didn't go around pardoning people who have a history of doing the worst of the worst crimes. But if you knowingly bring in rapists and murderers, and that you have a responsibility then when you knowingly do that, all right? You're not, even as like, this guy that got pardoned, did he have a history of doing this before he went to the Capitol? I haven't read anything in the stories about that, and believe me, I would. So that's the difference between the two. None of it's good. Most people that get pardons are guilty of the crimes that they've committed. I'm not saying the J6ers are all guilty, but most people that get pardons have done crimes and are guilty. There was a woman that President Trump had at the White House a week or two ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago. and she was in prison for quite some time, and she did what she did, but they thought the sentence was too hard. To get a pardon or to have your sentence commuted or something, you have to have been convicted. And in most instances, people that get pardons did do the crime that they committed. Now, the J6ers were different because what the J6ers were political prisoners, something we never thought we would have in the United States, okay? And in the if President Trump had not been reelected, not only would the J6ers still be in prison, their civil liberties were being violated. Some of them were being held without trial, which you have a constitutional guarantee to a speedy trial. They would not, in many instances, not be allowed to have private consultations and confidential conferences with their attorneys. There were all kinds of things where their rights were being violated and everything else. And if the Democrats would have won the last election, this would be an entirely different country than the one we're in now. We were about to lose our freedoms in ways that are unimaginable. Now, I wanted to share this clip. This is Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. All right, here he is.
What's the SAVE Act? That's not about ID. It's about registration. It's about who gets to vote, who doesn't. What's the SAVE Act? That's not about ID. It's about registration. It's about who gets to vote, who doesn't get to vote. They are not screwing around. We will lose this country. But first, we cannot lose our minds over this shock and awe.
Okay. So when he says we, he's talking about the Democrats. So Gavin Newsom is saying, right, he's saying right there, if voter ID is required, we're going to lose. We can't win. You know, yesterday I was telling people that are going on a cruise to make sure that you check in, right? And by the way, all you guys did yesterday, pretty much. So thank you guys for doing that. So you have to, when we check in on the cruise, and this is not just our cruise, this is all cruises. First off, you got to have a passport. You got to have, U.S. government identification to take a cruise, and because we're going to these other countries to spend a few hours in these other countries on shore excursions. You have to have your passport, and when you check in, you've got to enter your information as it is printed on the passport, including the passport number. But to get the passport, you got to have your birth certificate. And Gavin Newsom, he said the other day he didn't have his birth certificate. When I first got my passport, which I have to renew because it's going to expire later this year, I thought I had my birth certificate. And I had this, what I thought was a birth certificate. It was about the size of a driver's license. And I found out it was not. And I had to get a passport quick. So, and I don't live in the state in which I was born. I was born in Rhode Island. So, and I had to get it. And I got in, and to get my passport, I was in a rush because I had a trip. I had to have the original, I had to have either the original birth certificate or a certified copy with the raised seal. So I went online. It cost me a few dollars, not that much. I was surprised. Someone had to physically go to the clerk's office in the county that I was born to get, because of the speediness that I needed it. And they did it, boom, and sent it to me. I had it the next day, the real birth certificate with the raised seal of the state of Rhode Island on it to get my passport. You can get it just like that, and that's what you need to get a passport so you can take a cruise. So this idea that people can't get ID, they can't prove citizenship, they can, especially those who come from south of the border, because those of us that are Catholic, you go to any Catholic church, large Hispanic population, and I know sometimes there's people there that are probably illegal in the Catholic Church. To receive Holy Communion, you have to be baptized to join a church and everything else. They come with their baptismal certificates. Millions of the illegals are not undocumented. They have their baptismal certificates for themselves or their children or both. You know? So they do have more documentation than you realize, by the way. But when you hear Gavin Newsom say that the Democrats are going to lose without voter ID, what does that tell you? It tells you exactly what you need to know. And that's why it's so important for Thune to do away with the filibuster so we can get the SAVE Act passed. And we get the SAVE Act passed, and boom, we can have a free and fair election. All right, we'll take our break. It's the Steve Kane Show. If you'd like to call in, the number's toll-free, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
The secret to sustainable weight loss isn't the endless cycle of counting calories.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Or taking the next trendy shot.
Hey, gentlemen.
Resetting your metabolism and creating simple, healthy habits to support it. I'm Dr. Adam Zuckerman with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, and that simple secret could change the rest of your life. So stop yo-yo dieting and let's reset your metabolism naturally, safely, and effectively. Go to coastalweightloss.secret.com to schedule your free consultation. That's coastalweightloss.secret.com.
Hey, it's Brian Craig. Thanks to Dr. Zuckerman at Coastal Weight Loss Secret, I'm in the best shape I've been in decades. He makes it
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
no exercise is required, and none of those prepackaged
Hello?
meals either, like bars or shakes. And my favorite part,
Mhm.
drugs or injections with the risk of serious side effects. If you're looking to lose weight and keep it off for good, then look no further than Coastal Weight Loss Secret and their metabolic reset program. You can lose up to 10 to 20% of your body weight in just 60 days. Schedule your free consultation now by calling 561-247-6300, 561-247-6300, or coastalweightloss.secret.com.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Results may vary.
Hello? Mm.
43.
Him and his company. They've done a few of my friends' houses and my son and my house. There's never a downtime. They're old school, which means call them up, they'll be there. How many times do you call somebody up and they never show up, or they give you an excuse? Weather, traffic, whatever. Tom LaPorta, what a class act. The workmanship, the magnificent family. I recommend them 100%.
Give Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing a call. This number rings directly to his cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. He covers both the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. 954-604-4602. LaportaRoofing.com. They'll never sell you a roof you don't need. When you need lab work, don't waste hours and hours waiting at the doctor's office or one of those big labs. Go to any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. Their prices are guaranteed to be the lowest you'll find anywhere. No appointment, doctor's order, or prescription is needed, and you're in and out in 15 minutes or less. They offer every lab and blood work your doctor can order. They even have drug testing and STD testing. Take control of your health care and visit any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. There's lots of any lab test nows around, but these are the only two advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. And make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Cracker Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, and anywhere in the world at True Oldies FLA.
All right, and it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. Happy Friday.
I know. I can't believe it's Friday already. So what do you have for us today?
Well, today I want to discuss one of the biggest estate planning myths there is. People think, well, I have a will, so I'm all set. And the thing is, one of the biggest goals that people have when it comes to estate planning is avoiding probate. And some people think that if they have a will, they're all set, they'll avoid probate. But that's not the case. In fact, as I've said before, a will is your ticket to the probate process. The assets are still in your name at the
your passing. So if they're in your name at the time of your passing, they end up in your estate and go through probate. The will just says who gets your stuff and who's in charge of that process, who's a personal representative. So having those assets in a revocable living trust does help them avoid probate. But there's two steps you have to take. You have to create the trust. You want to, of course, make sure it's up to date. And then after that, you want to make sure all of your assets are titled in the trust. That is your way to avoid probate. And on top of that, you'll avoid guardianship. And there's many other things that the trust can do, including helping your loved ones be protected from losing it. You've worked your whole life for these assets. You've saved. You've done all the right things. You don't want them to lose it because they happen to get divorced or happen to get sued or creditors take it away. So there are things we could do to protect it so that the assets are protected from probate, protected from guardianship, and protected from creditors and predators.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've seen there used to be a show on television called Lottery Ruined My Life, and it was stories of people that had lottery winnings, and it showed how windfall cash can destroy families. That happens a lot with inheritances. People come into money, and then all of a sudden somebody decides, oh, let's get divorced. I'll just get half of it, right? I mean, this happens. But Attorney Barry Siegel and the Siegel Law Group can stop all of that. Listen, give the Siegel Law Group a call and schedule your no-charge in-office consultation. The number is 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk next week.
Have a great weekend. Thank you.
All right, take care, take care. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Jessica Bryan. Good morning and happy Friday.
Hi, Jessica.
I just want to answer one of your callers' questions that why we went to war with Iran. Because apparently these people are not getting the information or the correct information from their news sources, which I think it might be CNN and MS Now and CBS, which they're clearly lying to the American people and hiding the real truth. Why did we go to war with Iran? I mean, it is so simple. Why did we go with Iran? What main reason? They were behind the assassination attempt of our President Donald Trump twice.
That alone, by the way, is an act of war. I don't care if it was one of the former presidents. To me, I'd say let's go to war. But you're right. And President Trump said the other day, he said when he was talking about Ayatollah Khomeini, he said, "I got him before he got me. They tried to get me twice." And that's enough right there. Mm-hmm.
That's enough right there for me to support my president. I said, you know what? I think you should go in, take them all out and get out.
But this is what's happened. Okay, one, we didn't go to war and just attack them. We've been at war with them for 47 years. I've been talking about this all week. Almost 100% of the Islamic terrorism around the world is because of Iran. All these conflicts with Israel is Iran, Hezbollah, all these groups. It's all Iran. And President Trump, let me finish. President Trump put together this board of peace for Gaza, and the Muslim leaders have told him we can't have peace as long as Iran's here, and that's why they're wiping out Islamic terrorism in the Middle East. That's what he's doing. Everybody knows this. Yeah, and you know what? And I told this many times that I believe there was a threat on him in the first term after he got Soleimani. When I went to the airport and Air Force One was gone after the New Year's in Trump's first term, the two times that they tried to assassinate him may not have been Butler in the golf course. It may have been some things we don't know about. And President Trump doesn't want to go through the rest of his life and then his family have to deal with these Iranian assassination squads. and they shouldn't have to.
So, Brian, remember that the Venezuelan government were given passports, Venezuelan passports to Iranians, terrorists to cross through the border, make pretend that they were from Venezuela because they were having the passport, and then apply for asylum.
You know, and there was, you're right, and they were doing, and for years, Iran had been doing military maneuvers with Venezuelan naval vessels. And the Soleimani that we sunk the other day with this torpedo, I heard they were doing military maneuvers with another country's navy that they had just left and were trying to get back home to Iran. I don't know what country they were doing military maneuvers with, but it was somewhere over in the Indian Ocean or something. I don't know. But who's doing military maneuvers in the Navy over there with Iran?
I mean, we need to be the voice of reason with these people. Let's remind them that, I talk to the people daily. Remind them that Iran was involved in the mass migration that the U.S. suffered under the Biden administration. Iran was behind.
Well, sometimes, the caller you're talking about, Hunter from Delaware, who was calling in and was kind of creepy. The thing about it is, why even try to explain to liberals? J.D. Vance said there's no middle ground with the left. When you're talking to a liberal, there's nothing you're going to say to them, and they're going to say, oh yeah, that makes sense. I didn't know that. They're always just looking for something to disagree with Trump on.
They'll never be happy, Brian. Another thing before I go, I was happy to see the president yesterday with Messi, the Argentinian soccer player.
Yeah.
President looked so happy that he was being gifted something. I finally see him being so grateful that there's some regular Americans giving him a gift.
Yeah.
And I saw him to be a little bit even nostalgic.
Mm-hmm. Messi, I saw a video on YouTube of his house in Miami. Have you seen Messi's house, Mike, in Miami? He lives in a high-rise. I'm sure he's got more than one house. He's worth like $1 quadrillion, right? But he has a high-rise in Miami, and he pulls his car in. Of course, he's up at the top. He pulls his car in on the ground floor. He takes an elevator in his car all the way up to the top, and his car is parked in his living room at the top of the high-rise. It's crazy. You got to look it up online.
That's absolutely insane.
It is. It's crazy.
Tucker Carlson, he needs to be fired or thrown out of the party, the GOP party. He's obviously, he went off the rails.
This is the deal. This is the deal with Tucker. Tucker Carlson was making $20 million a year at Fox. Okay? His lifestyle is at that level, and he's doing something to maintain that income. That's it. And it's not good.
At the same time, he's dragging the president, and that's so not nice. That is uncalled for. I'm so disappointed with him and Megyn Kelly. That's terrible what they're doing. To me, they're committing treason to the country, to the president, to their party, everything. They lost their minds. Thrown out.
Okay. All right. I'm going to run. I appreciate the call. All right, you too. Now, listen, if you're on hold, hang in there. It is Open MAGA Mike Friday. You can call in about any and everything on your mind. It's Fair Game on Friday show. The number's 888-465-2631. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. We'll take our break and be right back. Hey, what's going on?
Ready to go? You got your red on.
Always ready. Always ready.
Oh, yeah. We got this for Jenny.
Oh.
I forgot the last time we were here.
And on the next break, I got to take the break first.
Or you could do it after, but I feel like
Let's try to do it first.
Yeah.
I don't like to do it till they're on hold in case it takes a few minutes to get them.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
How's the calls been?
Good. Yeah, today the calls kind of not low quality callers today.
Really?
Your kids had asked me about coming on your show again. Did you? I don't know when you wanted to do that.
Whenever you want.
Fridays are always best, like when you come on.
Okay. You want to do it next Friday?
Yeah, we can do it next Friday.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, we can do it next Friday.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I saw that they took my advice with the shows, and I see that the views have gone up a little bit.
Evan's been he was in there after you left for 2 days solid just doing it.
Yeah, I could tell. I went through it, and I could tell the views have gone up a little bit.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, it's getting better. And you know what's funny? People that are existing clients and new clients are both saying, "Hey, I've seen your podcast." So some are listening and some are watching the podcast.
It's good. Yeah.
I'm very happy with this.
Yeah, I got some other thing. Once they get used to that, I'll give them a couple more things. I don't want to overload them.
Evan's a smart kid with that. He knows once
Yeah.
it's like me. Once you teach him something, then he knows.
Well, I don't want him to think I'm like bossing him around.
Oh no, not at all.
Okay.
They get enough of that from me.
Yeah.
I call them. I don't say that to them, but I call these kids snowflakes because they melt if you give them too much.
Well, what I wanted to do, and maybe we can do this when I come by next Friday. I wanted to do a couple of commercials where I run on my YouTube channel of you and I talking in your studio.
That'd be really cool.
You understand what I mean? Yes. Not the show, not clips from the show, but us like having a quick discussion about.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be really cool.
So we'll do that next week.
Yeah, it'd be cool like if you're interviewing me, like the last time.
Yes.
You know.
Not the show, but like the commercials, not your show. Yeah.
Oh, how'd that Steve guy go? Was that no good, that interview?
No, it's good. It was a little rough, but it'll probably start next week.
Oh, okay. Sounded okay?
Yeah, it sounded good.
I was worried maybe the guy was a little too.
No.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. All right, and Joe Thomas is in studio. Callers on hold. Stand by. Hey, Tom. How's it going?
Joe Thomas.
Joe Thomas.
People call me. I say call me whatever you want.
You know, I got to tell you, full disclosure, I've been up about 20 hours.
Have you really?
My mother got into a car accident yesterday, and I haven't talked about it on the air because it was not her fault. She got a ticket, and the driver switched places with his passenger before the cop got there.
Probably don't have a license.
I told my mom, my daughter was nearby, and she went over there right after the accident, and my daughter saw the switch, and I thought, well, was he on drugs? Was he drunk? Because a lot of times they'll do that. And my daughter said, I think he's undocumented.
Oh, that probably.
And he was afraid of getting deported. So I promised, Joe Thomas in studio. What did I call you, Tom? I was looking down at Tom Laporta's phone number here. No, Jupiter Joe Thomas in studio with me here today. You know, somebody had asked me the other day, and guys, don't ask me any questions about annuities. I don't know the answers to them. Joe Thomas does. They asked me two questions, and I didn't know the answer to either of them. One was, what if I don't want the monthly income? Do I have to take it? And if I don't, what happens to the money?
Great question. So a lot of people do not want the income. They want to let it build. So you build it up.
In the annuity?
Yeah, you let it build. So it goes from, I'll make up a number, 10,000 to 20,000, and then you take your 20,000 out whenever you want after the period.
There you go.
Yeah, you take it, and now the only negative is you got to pay tax on the money. Well, anywhere you put your money, if you make money, you're going to pay tax.
At some point, you're going to have to pay taxes on it. So, but sometimes, sometimes people that are a little younger, maybe not 100% retired, or maybe not retired at all, maybe they don't want to take the money for whatever particular reason and build it up. So that's probably common.
I had a client in my office yesterday. They're in their 80s. They're doing the 6.3%, which is our hot rate right now. 5 years fixed, 6.3%. It's the highest out there. Go to your bank, see if you can get 6.3% for 6 months, no less 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they don't want the interest. They want to let it build. They want to leave it to their kids. They want to leave the most money. And that's what they're doing.
So you don't have to take the monthly income, and you can actually. That's interesting. So you could have it however often it comes in, go right back into the annuity, and that kind of. So you're making all kinds of money there.
Correct. Or you can take it anytime you want. If you say to me, hey Joe, I want my interest this month or next year, whatever, we make arrangements.
Well, see, there you guys go. You got, you can pass your questions along to me, and I'll ask Joe when he's here. And another one they asked me, okay, now this is one you and I have talked about a lot, but we have not talked about it in a long time. And I know you got a thing or two you want to bring up, but this was another one. And I've told you about this. I've been in this situation myself, and that's why I bring it up a lot. But I know a lot of guys who you have a financial planner, you're not happy with them for whatever reason, and you don't want the confrontation of calling him or his secretary and closing the account or transferring it. But you take care of that for people. How does that work when someone comes to you? And nobody likes confrontation. They don't want to break up with their financial planner, or they don't want to call the human resources person about their 401k that fired them. What's the process for you to get their money into an annuity without them getting involved?
They sign one form called the transfer form, and we take care of it for you. And most likely, they're not even, these older agents or brokers or advisors aren't even going to call you anyway. They don't care. Or they're out of the business.
Yeah. What do you mean out of the business? How's that possible?
Well, they're not making any money. They change careers.
Oh,
that happens all the time.
Yeah.
You know, years ago I used to talk about that. I don't talk about that much, but anymore. But anyway, the average stay of a financial advisor in the business is 6 months.
Really?
Yes, they get in for 6 months and they're gone.
It takes so long to get all the credentials to do it.
If you're not making money for the company you're working for, you're gone. You know, it's that simple.
It's a high pressure sales game. That's one of the things I talk about this a lot. When you get to you guys know all the groups we're talking about. I always call them product pushers, because whatever company they work for, they have something that they're pushing, and they tell their people, tell your clients about this, and whether it's good for them or not.
So really quickly, the banks right now are doing that exact thing. They're saying, get in for the 6 month rate. It's called the teaser rate. 4.5% for 6 months. After 6 months, you get zero. And they want you to go into their mutual funds or stocks or mutual, whatever they have, you know, that they're pushing that day. We have 2, 3, 4, 5 year rates that are fixed and locked in for that period of time. You don't have to,
That's amazing.
You don't have to redo it.
That's
you don't
amazing.
Have to upsell you anything.
That's amazing. You know, I don't know why everyone's not in annuities. They make so much sense. And, you know, here we are in a war situation now, and everybody sees what's going on. And your clients, whatever goes on with the Dow doesn't even faze them, because it doesn't matter with annuities.
Every once in a while I get a client who already has annuities with me, and they call me and the questions go like this: Joe, are you sure I can't lose any money? Are you sure that this war is not going to affect me? Are you sure the stock market going down is? And I go, yes, 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 because they protect your money. That's the number one reason people buy annuities, is for the safety factor. Besides the rate of interest is secondary.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, did I leave anything out? Is there anything else we should?
Good.
Listen, give Joe Thomas a call. It is a no-charge consultation, which you can take advantage of, and you should. His number is 561-743-0999, 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just go to his website, jupiterjoe.com. All right, Joe, we'll see you next time. All right, now if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll go to the phones. Our number is 888-465-2631. By the way, that story with my mother in the car accident is true. You know, I had been in a car accident many years ago, and the person left the scene, and the cop told me that they were probably drunk or on drugs. And if you leave the scene of an accident and you're drunk or on drugs, if no one's hurt, the penalty is much less than if you got a DUI or if you were on the drugs or something. And the situation with my mother in this accident yesterday, first thing I said to my daughter, because she said that the driver switched positions with their passenger. And my first thought was they must have been drunk on drugs. She says, no, I think he was undocumented, illegal, and he was afraid he'd get jammed up with the cop. And that, you know, that's something. It's just... It's the world we're in now, you know? And, all right, we'll go to the phones. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, Joellen. You know, when I Well, I guess when you talk about other people that are other personalities, you don't talk about the people you're agreeing with all the time. A lot of times you're talking, most of the time you're talking about people you got an issue with. And a lot of people give me a hard time about Tucker and Megyn, but, for you to come around says a lot because you've been giving me grief for a long time about these things. Okay. Victor David Hanson is probably the most brilliant conservative mind in America today. I mean, there's two possibilities with Tucker. The one is the financial, okay? And I know that's what most people go to. I don't know. There's another possibility. And, his dad is a lifelong CIA. Tucker could be a CIA guy. He could be a deep state guy who's running some intelligence game and maybe helping us. It's possible. But I think it's most likely the money. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The thing with Megyn Kelly, okay? Here's what's going on with Megyn Kelly, okay? She looks at how popular Candace Owens has millions of people that listen to every episode of her program. And the reason they are is because she's lost her mind. I mean, she's insane. I watch it, okay? I watched her show yesterday, and I felt bad for Candace Owens. She looked crazed talking about Erica Kirk. She's doing this series. And Megyn Kelly wants those numbers. And it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen for Megyn Kelly. What's going on with Candace Owens, it's the rubbernecking for the train wreck that people are passing that ran off the tracks or the car accident on the side of I-95. It's rubbernecking is what's going on, and she's not going to be able to maintain it. And what happens a lot with people in the new media, and maybe this is maybe I should do it. I don't think so. They're only as good as their last show. How many people listen to their last show? And and all they care about are how many numbers they get. We all want people to listen and watch and all of that. But everything they do and say is based on that number. Like I'll tell you, a couple weeks ago, I don't talk about this stuff too much, but my podcast was ranked 250th in the world a couple weeks ago. The end of last week, I got a notification. It's now 200. And I know you might say, 200, big deal. Well, there's over 10 million podcasts just on Apple Podcast and Spotify alone. Right? And there's a lot of podcast platforms. So to be 200 out of millions and millions and millions at that eyes, pretty good deal. I don't have any marketing. I have no corporate behind me or anything. But I don't pay attention to the numbers because that starts manipulating you. And it starts getting you to do things, then say things, and maybe talking about this because you're going to get more people to listen than if you talk about that. And that's where Megyn Kelly is. And Megyn Kelly, she's done so. She's also, just from a business end, she's trying to start a media empire like Ben Shapiro has, and it's not done well. She's got Mark Halperin, who's very good, a guy named Link Lauren. She's got her girlfriend doing a show, and they're not doing that well. And she's overexpanded, and it's crashing and burning, and she's in a financial panic. Some friends of mine have a house there, and they invited me down for the weekend, so I went and visited. Haven't been down there in years. Well, listen, I got to run, Joellen, but I kept you on longer than I would normally do because you're always. This is like one of the first times you've ever agreed with me on anything. So and you, and you admitted you were wrong a little bit about what I was saying, and you'd been giving me a hard time. So when somebody admits they were wrong, I'm going to give them a little extra. All right, Joellen, you take care. All right, take care. All right, we're going to take our last break of the day. There's only one opening on the board at 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. Oh, that, yeah. Oh. William? Oh, good. I was just calling you. Hang in there. Hold on.
Yeah, I went straight to voicemail twice.
Hey, he's right. I got him on the line. I want you to do me a favor. March 22nd, which is a Sunday. I want you to do me a quick favor. Hold on. I don't want them to. Hey, how's it going? Okay. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
All right. All right. All right, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca for the last gold and precious metals report of the week. How are the metals looking today, William? $5,000. Oh my goodness. That's awesome. That's awesome news. When it comes to gold, what are some of the best buys right now in gold? Really? The Cougarans are a really nice coin. You don't talk about those too much, but I love Cougarans. They're a good looking coin, and back in the day they were it. Mm-hmm. And for those that are new, whenever you hear me ask William Youngerman, like, oh, what gold are you recommending? What silver? What I'm asking is, what can you buy where you get the most gold or the most silver for your money, right? Which the premiums are the lowest. And he said today the Cougaran, so that's good. All right, William Youngerman, let me give out your number. He opens up at 10 a.m. Give him a call toll free, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, or stop in at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. And you can find both his phone number and address online at williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk on Monday. All right, take care. All right, there's one opening on the board at 1-888-465-2631. All right, You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right, Westlake Worth, otherwise known as Wellington. Yes. Hi. Yes, yes. Oh, really? Give me an example of something of Trump's that I'm defending that's making me look like a libtard. I don't know what I don't know what the show topic was on that Biden episode. I've got thousands of videos and shows up, so I don't know which one. But you think I'm banging the drum for the Third World War now? Yes. No. I have been, since Trump came down the escalator, I have said on the air, I will never disagree with Trump. The only thing I disagree with Trump on is I don't get tired of winning. This isn't, the war with Iran is not starting World War III. Well, yeah, because it's because it's being fought in a way to win the war. Don't you understand? I was talking about this earlier in the show. This is the first war the United States has been involved in since the Second World War where we've been actually fighting to win it, right? President Trump said yesterday at the White House with the soccer team, he said that the Iranian leaders are calling him trying to make deals. He says it's too late to make deals. So, you know, he's not going to make, he is going to continue blowing them out of existence until their government no longer is there to make deals. It's called total war. That's what we did in the Second World War. That's what we didn't end the war and leave the Nazis in power. What? Well, Donald Rumsfeld, who was George W. Bush's Secretary of Defense, they were warmonger criminals. This isn't Bush. This is Trump. Yes. But you don't even know what city you're in. West Del Rey doesn't even exist. Yeah, I know. I'm just giving you a hard time. Westlake Worth. Oh, okay. So you decide who the true Catholics are. Okay. What is this? The Reformation? All popes are always the Pope also says the southern border should be open. Okay, so do you agree with the Pope on that? Okay, the Pope says that we should not deport all these illegals. Do you agree with the Pope on that? No, Kristi Noem is deported. There have been 3 million forcible deportations on top of all those who have self-deported. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. I didn't call you a liberal. All right. Well, speaking of the ether, you've been on too long. Appreciate the call. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right, Westlake, what's on your mind? Thank you. Yes. Well, I'll tell you, there's, Markwayne Mullin, right? He's the new Secretary of Homeland Security, right? Yeah, they announced, I'm watching on Fox yesterday, and they said he's definitely got the job. They have sent a special Homeland security guard standing outside of his office, because if you're in charge of the deportations, they're gunning for you. So they show that. So a few minutes go by and Fox News shows the guard. Did you see this video? Did you see this, Mike? Oh my goodness. I couldn't believe. Don't do anything until no. Don't do anything till after 9 a.m. You can't do anything till I'm off the air. You got to keep listening. No, so they gave Markwayne Mullin, a Homeland Security guard guy. It was a woman. She was in her Homeland Security uniform. She had a hijab on. He was being guarded by this. Yes, I swear. He was being guarded by a Muslim woman outside his office as soon as the announcement came down. Markwayne Mullin. There was a live camera there. I thought it was a joke. I couldn't believe it. No, it's not. It's real. It was a black Muslim woman. She had it. Now you could see her face, but she had the, head covering on. Mm-hmm. I know. Isn't that crazy? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Obama brought. Listen. Well, yes. I was in shock when I saw this Muslim lady guard outside of First off, Markwayne Mullin. That you think that who's going to do if he needed protection, he would do more than what this lady would be able to do. All right, take care. Appreciate the call. All right, take care. No, I'm not kidding. You go and look at the footage. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, Pete. Mm-hmm. Well, the thing that, they're even bombing Muslim countries. The thing about the war began when they took the embassy. And I was talking to the caller a couple calls ago about how this is like total war, what President Trump is doing. A lot of people know this, but a lot of people don't. Jimmy Carter wouldn't let our Marines at the embassy have bullets for their weapons. And the reason the Iranians were able to take our embassy is because the Marine guards at the embassy had guns, but they had no bullets. So they couldn't, it sounds crazy, but, and I was talking earlier in the show about this ship that we took out, the Soleimani. They were in international waters, the Iranians, and they thought because they were in international waters, they were safe. And I'm thinking to myself, what has this country been doing all these years with Iran that they think in a time of war in international waters their ship is safe? That tells you how we've been fighting the wars all these years. It's insanity. Mm-hmm. Yes.
My wife is originally from Puerto Rico. She lived there when she was a child, and she grew up in Brooklyn, and then came here. But a 7-day cruise, and we're going to their private island. I forget what to call it, but anyway, then we're going to San Juan.
That's right. I'll be in San Juan in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we'll meet her sister and her nephew there.
And I'll tell you where to go in San Juan. There's a bar called Barrachino's. They have the best pina coladas you've ever had. Barrachino's. It's about a 10 or 15 minute walk from the port. Barrachino's.
I hope you have a good cruise and
yeah, I will. You should be on ours next time. All right,
we'll get on yours.
You should. All right. Yeah. Barrachino's, they have very good pina coladas. In fact, so good, I might need help walking back to the ship. It's easy to get there, but getting back is different. Now, I want to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. With Coastal Weight Loss Secret, losing all this weight, but keeping it off is amazing. I was talking last week when I got together with my friends in Key West. I ate like you wouldn't believe. How can you go to Key West and not have key lime pie and do all that stuff on top of the alcohol? I mean, my friends, they were really making sure I had a good time. There was at one point, I had champagne in my right hand, and they gave me a thing of sake for my left hand. I'm like, what are you guys doing to me? But, and I didn't gain any weight back, even though I had that incredible weekend. Because, with Coastal Weight Loss Secret and Dr. Zuckerman over there, Dr. Zuckerman says it best in the recorded commercial you hear with Dr. Zuckerman from Coastal Weight Loss Secret and myself. He reset my metabolism. And when I started that weight loss program and I realized the weight was coming off, I immediately started saying, well, what's it going to be like to keep it off? And I'm here to tell you, keeping the weight off has been effortless because Dr. Zuckerman reset my metabolism. Call Coastal Weight Loss Secret and schedule your no-charge consultation, 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300, and online, coastalweightlossecret.com. All right, well, listen, we are all out of time for today, but we'll be back on Monday. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. My name is Brian Craig. We'll be back Monday at 6 a.m. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. And we had some pretty good calls today, but some that were, but that's okay. That's how it goes on Open Phone Friday. See you Monday, 6 a.m.
104.3 HD3.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. All right, take care.